Ladies and gentlemen and in-betweeners, I'm your host with the most, Alexander Rodriguez, here for On the Rocks radio show, where celebrities and cocktails mix. Tonight, we have the Cool Kids Club. Here I feel like the Breakfast Club in here right now, right? Yes. We have the authors of Sweet Penny and the Lion, musician Alexander Burke, illustrator Richard Fairgray, who's an amazing illustrator, by the way. We have actor Brian Guest. We have model and musician Davide Filippini. And my special guest co-host visiting LA just for this week, longtime friend, Jonna Myers. So let's let the drinks begin. Woo!
Life is a banquet, and most poor suckers are starving to death.
I'd like to propose a toast.
This is On the Rocks with Alexander, coming at you from Sunset Gower Studios in the heart of Hollywood, where I drink with your favorite celebrities and we talk about fashion, entertainment, pop culture, reality TV, and that's about it. So pop a cork, pour a glass, lean back, and enjoy On the Rocks every Tuesday at 7 p.m. on Universal Broadcasting Network.
Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
It is going to be a bumpy night. I hope I got enough vodka. And I have to tell you, did you see the look of panic on my face? So I usually have the intro written out. Well, I hate using the computer. I deleted everybody's information. So I'm like, tonight we have, look at me go.
You hope you got enough vodka. There's a gigantic bottle of vodka right in front of you.
Right.
You don't know the show, by the way.
Boy.
Yeah,
you don't know.
We've
her
gone
either.
through 2 of these, and then there's the after party in the green room. All right,
Yeah.
buttons and bows and pantyhose. Have we got a show tonight? I do feel like, remember in high school, like they had that table that had all the random kids. They had like the goth kid and like the drama club kid and like the football kid, right? That's what this is, because we have a little bit of everything. We just celebrated Easter. Go Jesus, go! Nobody talks about the real Easter miracle. Is Jesus was in his 30s. All of his friends showed up to the dinner party when they said they were going to come. Judas pressed maybe on the Facebook invite. He's like, maybe. And then he showed up. When does that happen? Especially in our 30s. We're like, we're going to show up. Well, David,
Right.
You're not there. Who? Well, I can't officially ask your age because IMDb doesn't even ask that anymore. Anyway, somebody please keep my mom off of Facebook. She's like the Mrs. Kravitz of Facebook. Now, you guys, you might be too young for Bewitched. Mrs. Kravitz was the character that was always peeking out the curtain going, Abner, there's something going on. Because I tell my mom everything, so I tell her who I've defriended, who owes me money, who I broke up with, who I'm not talking to. And so she texts me incessantly, did you see somebody was at the Abbey last night? Or did you see they went on a cruise? Don't they owe you $20? Did you see? So April 1st, she sent me a slew of texts about my friend who adopted a kid. And she's like, oh my God, I can't believe that. They're so irresponsible. Text after text, page after page.
Oh my God.
3 minutes later, because I don't respond and feed into this craziness. 3 minutes later, she says, oh, it was an April Fool's joke. God damn it, Mom, stay off Facebook. Thank you to our sober listeners for listening. We love you, and thank you for holding our hair back and driving us home. Don't drink and drive. Hello to our listeners around the nation on iHeartRadio, Universal Broadcasting Network, Player FM, Stitcher, TuneIn, Satchel, iTunes, Google Play. And, of course, we are on Facebook Live, on Hillcrest Social in San Diego, True FM in Ohio, and nationally on Bear World Magazine. Rawr. Check out my weekly articles, movie reviews, and movie news Mondays in Bear World Magazine. This week I wrote about Princess Leia casting. She is not going to be replaced by Meryl Streep, which was the rumor that was happening. And thank you, Jesus, she is not going to be replaced by CGI. I don't know if anybody saw Rogue One. That was not well done. Nope. She looked like a Beverly Hills housewife at the end. It was like, bro, that face is not real. Also, Meryl Streep is in the new Mary Poppins, though, and Dick Van Dyke is coming back. So,
Nice.
and my boy, Antonio. What is happening?
Oh, goodness.
Greg, no phones in the studio. Oh, God, paparazzi just everywhere, sweetie. But Antonio Banderas is back making movies.
Thank
You
God,
guys are so
right?
goddamn quiet. Drink up! Drink up, bitches!
We need
He was in
Antonio
Guardians of the
Banderas in
Galaxy,
movies.
though, right?
Thank you, except he looks a little rough. Antonio Banderas does not look like Antonio Banderas
He lost
anymore.
lots of weight.
He lost too much weight.
Really?
Yeah,
He's like
but
75 years old.
no, he's not quite that old. Of course, when you marry Melanie Griffith, you age like twice as
Is
fast.
his best performance Puss in Boots and Shrek?
Yes.
Oh,
I think it might-
I was
Oh, yeah,
How about
that's
the movie
amazing.
called Puss in Boots? Or did you say Puss in Boots in Shrek or Puss in Boots?
Puss in Boots and Shrek.
I was desperately
Yes.
trying to think of anything he'd been in like the past 20 years.
That's the only thing I
Right.
could think of.
Like all I
That
can
and
think
Zorro.
of is like the sex
No,
doll
he was
from
just
South
in
Park.
Guardians
That
of the
was-
Galaxy too, right?
Four
Yeah.
Rooms just came out,
Yeah, he
right?
just did
That's
that.
pretty neat.
Right.
4 Rooms. Hey,
Dude is
that movie's
working.
like so old.
Oh Jesus! I thought that just came out.
With Tim Roth, 4 Rooms. Oh my God. Oh God. Did you like the? I did like the music from 4 Rooms. That's about all I liked from 4
I
Rooms.
rented that on VHS just to give some context.
No, I did too.
I rented it on beta. Boom. Boom, bitch. News alert, On the Rocks is soon coming to Spotify. Any week we'll get the notification. And Alexa, so you'll be able to, in the comfort of your home, while you're drinking your vodka, be like, Alexa, play On the Rocks. And there I'll be. So romantic.
Ooh.
Play it for your dates. Your girls will be impressed. They'll be like, oh, okay. For our audio listeners, you can check out our video stream on Facebook. Now we're on YouTube, and I still don't know how to advertise that. So subscribe to us on YouTube. And, of course, the Hillcrest Social app has all of our streaming video for free, and they give you concert tickets, product giveaways. My mom, Mama Rose, is actually visiting. She's in the green room. She's on the chat room on ubnradio.com, and she's on Facebook. Live answering your questions. Keep her busy because the vodka, there's another bottle of vodka in there, and I'm afraid of leaving her in there alone with that bottle of vodka. So keep her busy. How do you think I was born? And if you have a burning question, she will interrupt. She will text me, and we will answer your question live. Hello to our engineer, Kurt. Kurt, are you happy we have straight people?
I know it's a change, right?
Yes, it is. Poor Kurt's like, can we have straight people? Well,
Can we get like a show of hands? Because I want to be warned.
yes.
Yeah.
Of
The
Who is
the
straight?
straight people.
Straight.
Okay. All right. Wow. We're outnumbered.
Yes. Well, and hello, sir, Mr. Richard Fairgray. I was listening to your interviews, and it was like, oh, I was a co-creator with my wife, and I was like, wife?
Oh yeah. No. I mean, like, I want to say I'm a bisexual, but my boyfriend keeps telling me they don't exist. I have an ex-wife.
Don't we all?
I think for a lot of people, being gay is a lot like the Titanic. It's like women and children first.
Whose show is this, Richard Fairgray? That was a good
Right.
one.
I
was
skipped
awesome.
the children at least.
Yes. Oh, children are the worst. No offense, Johnny.
I was
You have
gonna
your
say,
beautiful
my daughter is
She's
gorgeous.
beautiful. But
Yeah.
most children are from the devil, and they ruin Disneyland. That's literally, they do. Kurt, but straight people here, do you have a pun for us? He's so punny.
I always have a pun for you.
Oh, God,
I
grown.
can tell you get so excited about these two.
You have to give straight people their time in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So some bacon and eggs walk into a bar.
Okay.
Yeah.
nice.
All right, you ready? Bartender says, "Sorry, we don't serve breakfast here."
No! Do not play yourself laughter. You do not get laughter for you. How dare you, sir? And I get crickets no matter what I say. Oh, thank you, Kurt, for that. It was thrilling. Oh, Kurt. Like us on Twitter and Instagram at On The Rocks On Air, Facebook On The Rocks Radio Show, and I know you're using Facebook even though analytics are saying you're not. I know you see me because I see you. We see each other. Subscribe, like I said, on YouTube. Find us on the web, On The Rocks Radio Show. You can listen to all the episodes there if you're too lazy to find us on all the other syndicates. And send me an email. Book me for a wedding, quinceañera, bris, funeral. I don't care. I will be there. Info at On The Rocks Radio Show.
You give brisks.
Bris?
Yeah, you give them. That's amazing.
Well, later in life, I don't want to be weird, What do you bring to what do you wear at a bris? I've never been to one.
Me either.
Turtleneck.
Can you get a bris?
Always.
This guy's on fire.
Can you get a bris later in life?
You can.
yeah, you can.
Yes, you
I know
can.
people have done that.
Yes,
Oh,
it's
really?
very painful, and you cannot have sex for
Why
6
would
months.
you do that?
Bad choices.
Sounds like my marriage.
Yeah, well,
Choice.
no, because some people like it, some people don't. 6 months, and you can't have sex. You can't even, and they give you medication. Don't ask me how I know. Get a little hot in here, a little uncomfortable. Want to be a part of On the Rocks on the road? This week, I will be at opening night of Style Fashion Week in Palm Springs, Thursday night at 6 p.m. at the V Palm Springs. So chic. Come out and meet the designers, the models, and the open bar, which I will be standing next to. I'm not broadcasting. I'm really just going to be there at the open bar, so I'm so excited. That week, I am hanging out with Zach and Evan. Who are Zach and Evan? They are the YouTubers. They're from Pennsylvania, and they're coming to Palm Springs, and I'm helping them all house hunters find a venue for their wedding next year. So we're going to be filming all this week. Look them up on YouTube, Zach and Evan. Twitter, Zach and Evan, and that's ZACH. Their proposal videos there, their travel videos are there. They're a lot of fun, and I get to meet them, and I feel sorry for you boys. Anyway, Thursday, April 12th, come join me at Santa Ana College, which is one of the oldest community colleges in California, as I host Dragucation. I will not be in drag because they have superstars there, including Wilhelmina Caviar and Nomi B, just to name a few. 7 p.m. So it's like a show, but it's educating the public about drag and the history of drag, performances. I'm going to be doing like a little lip sync for your live.
What was that?
Lip.
Right.
No, there's nothing there.
He did a shimmy shimmy.
Yeah. No lip
Yo,
sync.
Wilhelmina,
Lip
that's
sync.
my girl right there.
Is she?
Yeah. for
I've never
real.
met her.
Oh, she's a star.
I'm scared. I'm scared.
You should be a little bit.
Okay.
but
Well,
she'll
we're
let
going to
you
have
off the
fun.
hook quick.
And this is such a great way to reach out to the community. Santa Ana is very, how do I put it? It's they're not so dragulicious, so this will be fun. And come see the show because it's just going to be a lot of fun. Go to sac.edu for more information. Also, the very next day, Friday the 13th, April 13th, I will be performing some cabaret tunes at the Roar Room in LA for their Witches and Burlesque night. So it's witches and psychics that dance burlesque.
Wow.
And they're going to throw me in the mix to sing some
Talk
show
about
tunes.
a niche market right there.
I know. Who knew? Who knew? Also, this summer we are coming for you. On the Rocks is hosting Out at the Fair at California State Fair in Sacramento, San Diego County Fair, and New Mexico State Fair in Albuquerque. Make your travel plans and come say hi. We kick off June 9th on the Coors Stage in San Diego and New Mexico September 9th. For more information, check out atthefair.com. Many of the musicians that have appeared on the show will be performing. Alexander Burke, I do not think you're going to be there with your xylophone.
I mean, I'm game if you want to ask.
Your game? Oh,
Yeah.
how the vodka
Careful.
turns.
Right.
Yes.
I'm telling you.
Don't sit next to Richard. It's contagious.
When he said bris earlier, it almost sounded
Yeah.
like he's saying,
Yeah. You got a little excited over there.
Thanks.
Calm
Right.
down,
I'm telling
Alexander.
No one ever asked to play the vibraphone. Like, no one wants me.
the vibraphone.
To be fair,
Vibraphone.
He's a
Explain.
vibraphone
Explain.
prodigy.
I mean, I grew out of that. I'm
He said-
in my
he
30s
said
now.
xylophone, which is
He
the
did say
same
xylophone,
thing.
which is like the most
It's
offensive
the
thing you
same
could say to a
thing.
vibraphone
It's
musician.
identical.
Oh. To me, it looks the same.
War.
I don't.
But you're a vibraphone prodigy.
Yeah, I mean, I did grow out of that, but but yeah, I was touring, playing the world, touring Italy, all over the place.
Okay.
From
Did you say hi to Davide when you were over in Italy? You should have said, "Hey, what up, bro? Let's go to a
Right.
Brits
I
together."
should've.
Okay. Let me introduce my bestie for the night. Jonna Myers, how do I begin to
Heyo.
describe who Jonna is? Public figure, international underwear model, television personality featured on such shows as Bravo TV's Millionaire Matchmaker, Real Housewives of Atlanta, Botched, RuPaul's Drag Race, the Obama campaign video, the Cher video, numerous interviews on podcasts, magazines, and radio. From WeHo socialite to traveling family man, he currently works for a Christian nonprofit, Potter's House in Northwest Arkansas. What?
I know.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk to you. His fashion, his opinions, his faith, and his selfies cannot be categorized in any box. Returning to LA for this week only, please welcome my friend Jonna.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
All right, so we know a lot of the same people. You were
Yeah.
big in WeHo, like what, 3 years ago?
Yeah, something like that.
And you were part of the social life, Andrew Christian model, all of that.
Yeah,
so, of
yeah.
course, coming back, I got so many emails. How do you go from being an underwear model and a nightlife socialite to this evangelist platform that you
Yeah, it's a really interesting thing. I went from living in West Hollywood, or I guess I lived DTLA
Sin,
technically, but yeah, and then I did some nightlife stuff in New York, and then I was in Vegas. I threw a party for Liaison, and then was in San Francisco. Right, you got that. Yeah, and did some stuff there. My time in San Francisco, it was kind of crazy. I had like a real come to Jesus moment.
Literally.
Hey,
Jesus.
Crazy, right. Hey, how you doing? Yeah, basically, Jesus, okay.
I'm going to refrain from the jokes because there's so many in my head right now.
Right.
I have come to Jesus too.
Right.
He was the janitor at my high school. Okay. That's such poor taste.
No, it's all
We
good.
could-
He's in all of us. But the deal is, right there we
These
go.
jokes write themselves.
Zing.
Right,
Yes.
for sure.
I love that we're doing these super gay jokes and all these straight people are like getting sweaty.
Right.
Welcome to my world, gentlemen.
No, but I basically had this experience in my room that was like this flash of light that actually spoke to me. It was crazy stuff. And a lot of people were like, what's going on with you,
Because people turned on you because they love seeing
They
your
did.
half naked selfies, and then the minute like you are serious and reflect on some like reality in your life,
Right.
people didn't know how to handle that.
No, they didn't. Yeah, I lost about 17,000 followers on Instagram. Wow. Still over 50, but just want to throw that out.
Number
there.
drop. Okay. Yes.
Right. It's been a crazy situation. I've been working instead of dancing my underwear at nightclubs and planning tours, at bars to do that, and getting the getting the TV cameos and whatnot. I've been focusing on a book and a blog, and you know what? I'm really trying to qualify like people who the church is unqualified, specifically the LGBT community. Whoop, whoop. Very, very important to me. I feel like the church is sort of overlooked, downplayed, and in fact insulted this demographic. And my main sort of focus in life right now is sort of requalifying them, making sure that everybody understands that they deserve love, regardless of who they are. And that's it. That's what's up.
Well, I love it. And I love what your message, because you're not hitting anybody over the head. You're just sharing messages of love. You're not like repeating scripture. You do, but it's not like...
Right. I mean, if people want to DM me or whatever, I get like 30, anywhere between, I'll get like 3 some days, but I get like 30, 50 people hit me up some days if I make a post and they're like, look, I got these things going on in my life, and what do you think about this and that? And that's been pretty crazy, because I've gone from, hey, where does that tattoo end, to like, look, I need help with my life. And it's been really nice, and sort of been a nice change, I guess. It's been very interesting, because I've done it all off the cuff. I'm not really sure. I'm idiot savant my way through this. I'll be the first one to tell you that, but.
Which I kind of enjoy, because it's like everybody's journey. You don't have to be some super theological person. No,
you don't at all. Nobody does.
What I love doing is like drunk messaging you on Instagram at like 2, 3 in the morning, talking about Jesus.
Oh yeah,
just talk about Jesus.
I mean, I'm curious where that tattoo ends now.
Well, there's 2 when they point to something. Okay. Yes, I know, but we have some pictures from your modeling. Now you have literally traveled. You're like a gypsy of sorts. You have literally been in so many cities all over the U.S. What is the most common thing that each city has? Like, it's just prevalent in every city. And what's one of the biggest differences?
Well, they all have lots of people.
Not every city.
Yeah, well, it's interesting.
And some of them don't have a lot of teeth.
That is true. I came from one of those towns. I came from a town of 3,000 people in Arkansas originally. No, that's fine. That's fine. And you know what? Going to a lot of big cities, one of the things that they all have is people who are very proud of where they live. People in San Francisco are proud of where they live. People in LA are proud of where they live. New York represents itself, And I love the variation there, because though people are all doing their thing in big cities and all doing the same thing, every one of those places has musicians, nightlife, models, They're all doing their own thing, and they all have their own individual style and flavor. And I love that, man. I love people, and that's part of why I did what I did before, and part of why I do what I do now. So.
Well, thank you so much for joining. It's so funny to see you, because we haven't seen each other like in 2 years.
I know, it's been a minute.
Yeah, I feel like I have to be in my best behavior. I can't do anything inappropriate anymore. Kurt, what is the number to call in with your fan questions? We just got that question. It's 323. That mouse pad has got to be cleaned. What is happening? Jesus. You think we're on a budget here? 323-284-7826. Again, that number is 323-284-7826. You can also ask your questions in the chat room on ubnradio.com and Facebook Live. All right, a shout out to our sponsors, and we need to get the show on the road. Thank you to Tesloop. Tesloop is the only way to travel from Orange County and LA to San Diego, Las Vegas now, and Palm Springs. You ride in a Tesla, and it's more affordable than Uber or than a cab or anything. So ride that. Pride Shoes, it is the apparel for Pride season coming up. Right. Panache Optical Gallery, they do all the celebrity custom eyewear, retro wear, all that kind of stuff. So we love them. And of course, Mulholland Distilling is our celebrity liquor, co-owned by Walton Goggins, who came by on the show, and we had a little fun with him. He dropped this off. He co-owns it with celebrity Joanna Cassidy, who I took to the Abbey last week after the show. Mulholland Distilling is
Name
made...
drop.
Boom, boom, boom. I'll say what I'll
pick
say.
that up.
Yes.
Bend over, pick that up.
Mulholland Distilling is a spirit of Los Angeles. In good times and in bad, all will drink. If you're not drinking water, make it Mulholland. Go to mulhollanddistilling.com. We are planning another celebrity tasting, because the liquor we did not get to when they had all their friends here was the whiskey. All right, let's get the show on the road. Davide Filippini.
Oh, God.
Yes, it sounds like a statue or like a drink.
It looks like one.
Yes, yeah.
Right?
From model to musician, this ugly man, Davide Filippini, was born in a small town in Italy called Modena, a small city between Florence and Milan. He started drumming in his early teens and recorded albums and toured Europe before he decided to come to the U.S. at the age of 22. He supplemented his music career, because we know drummers don't make any money, by modeling. And he was signed by a number of agencies and can be seen in a number of campaigns and even on some romance novel covers, which we have, by the way. We actually have. Oh, I love the titles, by the way, of them.
You looked for that.
Right.
Yes.
I knew it.
He has played in several bands around the world, including the Italian band Last Stroke. No comment. F Unit, and he is currently involved with Crazy Town, with whom he just toured the U.S., and there's a new album in the works. Please welcome Davide.
Heyo.
Woo!
What's up, guys?
To his right, we have Brian Guest. Brian Guest is a talented triple threat. I'm even. There's like so much to say.
You're going somewhere with that.
Yes.
I saw that.
Writer, actor, and comedian, there are no boundaries when it comes to his ability to create and convey a versatile collection of characters, and I do mean characters. Originally from Delaware. Wow, that's exciting.
Delaware.
That's brilliant. Yes.
Arkansas and Delaware.
He recently completed a large arc in USA Network's new TV series, Unsolved, The Murders of Tupac and the Notorious B.I.G., starring alongside Josh Duhamel, my boyfriend. Great show, by the way. Great, intense
good stuff.
show. This role has solidified his presence as the token white guy in every show that he is in. Every cast photo you post on Instagram, it's like a sea of color, and you're like, it's like Big Brothers and Sisters, but reverse. Yes.
I love it.
It's so funny. You have seen him in numerous hit TV shows, including Workaholics, Rush Hour, Southland, NCIS, Los Angeles, Narcos, Scorpion, Hawaii Five-0, Shameless, CSI New York, The OC. List goes on and on. Most recently, he finished filming the indie dark comedy The Oath, starring alongside Ike Barinholtz and Tiffany Haddish. You know, just little names. Names. Right. Outside of his television appearances, he has made a name for himself in the realm of comedy. He often performs at the Upright Citizens Brigade, which I have a funny story about that because I performed there too, singing show tunes. So out of place. I was literally booed off stage. Where he owned his improv skills. We're going to talk about improv. He has had his sketches featured on Funny or Die, College Humor, Deadline Hollywood, and Fox. And his sketch, which we're going to take a little peek at, Australian pilot season, was seen worldwide and even landed him on the Today Show in Australia.
Australia. Nice.
All right.
Was that good?
It was so fun.
Nice, very unusual. Please welcome Brian Guest.
Woo. Yeah.
And a very special treat, we have the authors of children's book, which is not just for children, by the way, Sweet Penny and the Lion, Richard Fairgray. I'm obsessed with this man's work. World-renowned children's book author, comics author, screenwriter, and illustrator. Originally from New Zealand, he has only 3% vision in one eye and complete blindness in the other. He started writing books at the age of 3.5 and was self-publishing comics by age 7 with his first title, Ghost Ghost. He's obsessed with ghosts. He thinks maybe you are a ghost.
Well, I just want to be one day.
Yes. Well, we all will, Richard. That is a dream that will happen. Having enormous success in the comics world, it was a natural transition for him to start writing children's books, to pay the bills. With his first title, Morgan, the Moorparks, and the Moon, which was a huge critical and commercial success. He continued the series with Morgan Goes to Nowhere and Morgan Goes to Sleep. He stopped at Morgan Goes to the Bar. That's where we ended.
Well,
it.
no, it's that he technically never woke up.
Oh.
He went to sleep and that was it.
An uplifting family story, everybody.
Wow.
He followed up this series, and you guys have to check this book, Gorillas in Our Midst, because they're very hard to find, right? Which he wrote and illustrated. In total, he has 4 books available in the U.S., all published through powerhouse children's book publisher Sky Pony. And his book, Gorillas in Our Midst, was named a notable book of 2017 by Storylines. And My Grandpa is a Dinosaur was a finalist in the New Zealand Book Awards for Best Picture Book for 2017. His newest book, which you can now get, released last month, which he illustrated and co-wrote with U.S. musician, writer Alexander Burke, is titled Sweet Penny and the Lion. And it's out now, so you need to get it. Adults and children, by the way. Cool. Richard and Alexander have also partnered with singer Jill. How do you pronounce her last name? Everybody pronounces it differently.
Jill Sobiel?
Sobiel.
Sobiel.
Little of
Yeah.
it.
I like how we both looked at each other and we got scared for a moment. We're like,
Of course, she's from I Kissed a Girl fame
Right,
to create
right.
a cartoon song version, which we're going to listen to a little bit, of Sweet Penny and the Lion, which has a strong message to young girls, encouraging them to express themselves. The book was originally, and it was based on the idea that most stories, boys are rewarded for misbehaving and girls are punished for misbehaving. They inspired to create a tale that encourages girls to be their own individual and not feel forced to confine to any gender stereotypes of what is considered good and bad behavior. Please welcome Richard Fairgray. Oh,
Yes.
the applause. You guys,
Yeah.
I'm getting
many
cotton
people.
mouth from all this talent. I love when I have untalented people because I'm like, we have this guy here, let's drink. Right?
right.
Now we got to bring it. Last and certainly not least, Alexander Burke, a fan of Abris.
I mean, just it's the free food. That's really what it is.
I will show up at anything with free food. Open bar, I'm there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it could be like a Trump rally. Okay. Well, no,
Always.
let's not get crazy. Alexander, you guys, his resume goes on and on, is an established musical professional, having worked as a film and television musical writer and composer, music supervisor and director, a musical performer, as well as an actor, producer, and writer. He has always had a passion for music, and as we talked, he was a vibraphone prodigy. What's a vibraphone? When I first read that, I was like, oh my.
It's like a giant metal xylophone.
Ayo.
So sexy. Sexy. Yeah. Sexiest man on campus. That's what you voted for with your vibraphone.
Believe it or not, was a virgin through college. So
No.
yeah, true
Is that
story.
real talk?
True story, real talk.
How about that?
While he was,
You were a mature student, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, I also didn't hit puberty until I was almost 21, so there was that too.
well,
Right.
and we share some commonality. I was born and raised in San Clemente, and I spent a lot of time in Laguna Beach. And you were born in LA, but you were raised in Irvine and Laguna Beach.
My dad's president of Laguna College of Art and Design, so that was pretty much where I grew up.
Oh my God,
And
I've
yeah.
slept with a lot of those people there. What a small world.
Awesome. I hope you got some portraits out of it.
I got a lot out of it. I had to take penicillin for one of the things I got. While Alexander was in high school, he joined Drake Bell's band, Drake 24/7, went on to perform on The Amanda Show at the Palladium and other high-profile venues around LA and on TV. Cool kid in high school, come on.
Yeah,
After high school, he went to Columbia College in Chicago, where he became the youngest musical director for the renowned Second City. That is huge. And being a musical director for one of those, well, you know, for one of those improv shows, he was asked to be the musical director for IO 25 Anniversary Concert DVD that included performances by Mike Myers, Amy Poehler, Tim Meadows, Andy Dick. And while in Chicago, he also did some jazz gigs. You know how you do. With jazz lessons such as Vaughn Freeman, Chuck Hedges. Then, after graduating, he moved back to LA.
You don't have to do the whole thing.
No,
right.
No, I
It's
have
so
to.
long.
No,
It's
but
so
you guys,
long.
it's so impressive. We're almost done. I'm gonna read through it. Came back to LA, where he graduated from USC's film scoring post-baccalaureate program. Quickly found work in television. Ready for some more name dropping?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
He was asked to perform with and open for Ryan Gosling and Zach Shields' band Dead Man's Bones. During this time, he became friends with Monique Powell, lead singer of the band Say Ferris, through his neighbor Abby Travis, bass player for the Bangles, and ended up playing on records for both of them, and at last joining the band Say Ferris. He was a member of Say Ferris when they opened for Gwen Stefani at Irvine Meadows and for Mexico City's infamous Ska Festival. Little thing.
Yeah.
So I did, the Roxy in Hollywood did a family show for a year, and it was You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown, and they did it 2 shows a day. And so I was in the cast. I was Charlie Brown. This was multicultural casting before, you know, it was like cool. And so
Richard's going for a cookie. Everyone see that?
yeah.
Oh.
He needs to carve up for this interview. He's like, I gotta get ready.
Right.
Yes,
In,
Blastosaurus.
in about
Cookie
7
seals
minutes,
broken.
it's on.
Yeah. Anyway, so we would do the 2 shows during the day at the Roxy. And what the hell were we doing family programming at the Roxy? And then the bands would come in and load in, and we would take our set. And one of them was No Doubt. And we're like, who are these weirdos? Because they weren't popular yet, right? And Gwen Stefani sat with us, and she was like, oh my God, I love Snoopy, and blah, blah, blah. And we're like, these people won't amount to anything. They're weird. Anyway, so we share. We both open for Gwen Stefani in different ways. His impressive resume also includes a ton of behind-the-scenes work, such as musical director on the MTV Movie Awards, co-producing for Ben Lee's album Freedom and the first 2 Garfunkel and Oates albums, composer for the song Back to the Start from the Iron Man 3 soundtrack, the song Love You Like This from the Jason Bateman movie The Gift, and song Undercover for the TV series The New Girl, as well as for a song for the Broadway video series 7 Minutes in Heaven. Also worked with some of the biggest names and influencers, playing keys on Kate Pearson's The B-52s album, guitars and microphones, produced by Sia, by the way. Did she wear that when...
She didn't, but she actually. I'm the worst singer ever. I failed singing 5 times in college, almost didn't graduate.
So funny.
And I was singing, trying to figure something out, and she started laughing. She's like, "For the first time in my life, I have to tell somebody not to sing." And she's like, "I'm so sorry, but I can't focus. You're so terrible." But she was the sweetest.
That would like put me in a depression when Sia says you can't sing. Damn girl, because she like accepts everybody.
Yeah,
not you. He also played piano and mandolin. And you did an interview where you really talk about how you changed the tone of the instrument you're playing and the type of instrument to fit the theme of the album, such as like a full, rich grand piano, or making it sound like a little thinner by using a keyboard. And how you match that up is
the way it's just switching microphones. This is not definitely not like a
building
crazy
you up,
like,
Alexander Burton.
an engineering podcast, but like you can make a piano take up the entire sonic spectrum of what the human can hear, or you can make it sound paper thin and kind of small.
Well, that was on Billy Ray Cyrus's album.
Yeah.
That must have been fun.
I mean, all the engineering people listening right now are pissed.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I listened to this specifically for this.
Engineering podcast.
It's like when Richard talks about his blindness. He's like, "Yeah, I'm blind. I don't really know how to explain it," and blah blah blah. It's like, what?
One time Richard's like, "You know what being blind's like? It's like seeing out the back of your head. It's not like closing your eye." And I still can't fathom that or understand that. I've asked him to explain like 5 times. It still makes zero sense to me.
I mean.
No words.
In 30 seconds or less, Richard, describe your ailment.
I can just show you if the camera's on me. What I can do is the left eye is completely dead, so I can just jam stuff into it.
No, don't do that! Oh my God!
Wow.
I used to be able to.
Cool party.
I never signed on for this. The show's over.
Do I get a bump for that?
That's actually the craziest thing that's ever happened on the show. We've had crazy things happen.
Really?
I found out that could happen because I was working very late and I fell asleep while painting something.
Oh, wow.
And but the paintbrush stayed in the eye, and I was like, "Hey, this doesn't hurt. That's amazing." So I was like a teenager, so I immediately went and like woke up my mom. I was like, "Ah!"
By the way, props for grossing people out on radio.
Yeah. That is fantastic.
That is
in
so
LA.
funny.
Yeah.
That is so funny. Wow, you should go on America's Got Talent. You could draw and do that.
Right.
Or draw with that.
Yes.
Yeah, you
yeah.
could do family
Joe.
portraits with a.
I just set myself up like on Hollywood Boulevard with someone like poking me in the eye while I draw portraits.
It'll be Angeline. She needs some work.
Oh, to be poked by Angeline.
Wow.
There's a
toy out there like that.
Oh my God.
She sells it from her trunk.
Yes.
Alex once won a ride along with Angeline. We went
I
to this.
saw
Is this
that
good?
on your feed.
We went to a thrift store and we were just like, I bought her an amazing gold jacket, and then they had a raffle to win a ride along with Angeline, and he was like, "Sure, I'll enter that." And then we leave the store like 5 minutes later. He gets a call, and the guy's
It's
like,
her.
"Literally, no one else has entered. You win." It's
Oh my God, how sad, Angeline.
Yeah.
How was the ride along?
She was actually amazing. She has her weird character that she plays.
Yeah.
But then there's a moment where like we start talking about Alan Watts and Eric Hoffer, and she like drops the persona, and it was an amazing like 15 minutes, and then realized she dropped the persona, and then like snapped back into her weird bubbly character.
Hey, how many shirts did you buy?
They're $10 each, by the way.
No, they're not.
No,
They're
I
$10 each.
They're
If you
no
stand
40.
there for
They're
5
40 or
minutes, right.
45.
You're right. That's
She's
so
gone
true.
up when I
She's
bought
gone
one. It was
up.
$10.
Yeah, no,
Right.
because I had friends who wanted them. I'm like, cool, I'll buy you shirts. I'm like 45. They're like, no, that's way too much. You bought it
Right.
still? Like they were so pissed.
All right, that was an intermission. We need to get back to Alexander's resume. So with Billy Ray, he also appeared at the Grand Ole Opry, The Tonight Show, and NASCAR to a crowd of over 80,000. That is my dream, is to be in front of a NASCAR crowd. 80,000.
It's
He
surreal.
played piano on the Dionne Warwick's record "Feels So Good," also recording the double platinum-selling Dane Cook album "Isolated Incident," accompanying Ed Helms and Michael Bublé for Blue Blaze. Blue Blaze. That's a pill. Bublé's
I want to try that.
Christmas. I'll give you one. Christmas special, playing multiple instruments on Margaret Cho's Grammy-nominated musical comedy album "Cho-Dependent," playing synth bass on the cult David Lynch album "This Train," with Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings on the Matthew McConaughey Lincoln television commercial songs. Also a little actor. He filmed 2 television pilots, Harding High for MTV2, and with Scott Thompson, who I'm obsessed with, by the way. I love Scott Thompson, for Husk Report. I thought it said Husky Report. I got really excited.
Has Scott ever been here?
So I have talked to him a few times. He really doesn't like doing this. But
Drinking?
I don't blame him. I mean,
talking. It's weird, like, because we've had
Cookies?
Michael McDonald. This is our first time with cookies, by the way.
Really?
Our social media guru.
I feel very special.
He is a master baker. Master baker. I have to say that.
Heyo.
So look
We
him up
all
on
are.
Instagram. Oh, Kurt, there we go. Look him up on Instagram. It's the Fabulous Baker Boyd, Boyd. And his Instagram is full of stuff that he bakes, so thank you so much. But Scott Thompson, I was flying back from Italy to New York. Oh, Italy.
Oh my God.
God, Italy's like this
It's
thing.
a thing, yeah. It's
He
a
was-
country.
He was so tired. Like, he was just tired, and I'm a big Kids in the Hall fan, and it was at baggage claim in LA, or no, in New York, and I was just like, blah, 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 and he's like, dude, I'm really tired. And I was like, oh, okay. And I was really disappointed because I love
Speaking
him
of
so much.
brisks, Scott wants to get them.
Stop saying brisk.
No. Scott
way to say
actually,
it, man.
we've gotten into
Don't-
so many
no,
fights
but-
because I was raised
You
Jewish.
keep adding a K to the end. As if it's like,
Okay, I never went to Hebrew.
but if it's like cold and rushed.
Right?
Listen, I never
Nobody
went
wants
to
a
Hebrew.
brisk.
I never went to Hebrew school, so I'm not 100% sure how to say it.
You never had your bar mitzvah?
I was, but I memorized it from a tape recorder. I'm not kidding. But
And you
Scott,
had your vibraphone. You're like, I don't know the language. I just
Scott
messed with
wants
it.
to.
No offense.
He wants to ban circumcisions, and there's this whole thing about how you can grow your foreskin back.
Yes, you
and
put a
he's
weight on it.
Yeah.
Don't ask me how I know.
He constantly is showing me how to grow it back because, like, you're Jewish. I know you don't have it. You
Oh,
need to
he's
grow
just
it
trying to
back.
show off.
And he's constantly showing videos about it, not
Oh,
actually
it's
his
so
own.
weird.
And is constantly trying to, like, he's like, you're Jewish. You have to get your people and ban these things. I'm like, I don't care.
Wow.
So yeah, but you can grow it back. It's look it up online. It's a real thing.
I don't want to.
Just have your safety filter on. Currently, Alexander is busy with his band Magnolia Memoir, which he writes for and plays the keyboards. Mela Lee, who's one of the top voice actresses in the world, is the lead singer and co-writer. The band performs worldwide, and their video for their single Odds and Ends from the album Pale Fire has celebrity cameos from Will Forte, Doris Roberts, and Fred Willard. Fred Willard has done the show.
I
He
love
was
that
so
guy.
great. They're currently working on their second album, Steal the Stars, which is slated to drop, in May?
Whenever our people,
teaser
quote,
says
unquote-
May.
Okay, then it's May. It's May. It's May.
Okay. Afterlife, May.
Yes.
Hey, Mela,
May.
hear that? It's got to come out in May.
Yeah.
Has to.
Alexander's also scoring the Netflix TV series A Mortified Guide, which is weird because we're having them on the show.
Oh, Dave and Neil.
Yeah.
Oh, I love those guys.
Yeah, so they're coming on the show. Composing 2 songs for the Sharon Stone feature film for Universal, As I Wish.
In the theaters now. I need to say
Okay.
that.
And Universal plans to submit it for Oscar consideration. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Did they tell you that before you, like you're ready to write and they're like, oh, Oscar, and you're like,
The director told me, but it's doesn't even, like, you say that doesn't even make sense. It's like being like, oh, Aliens Land. It's like, okay, that's nice. It's just like, it's the most surreal thing to hear.
Almost as surreal as you working on a song with Edward James Olmos for Blade Runner, by the way. How weird is that?
It didn't make the film, but there's the recording out in the world of me with Eddie.
That's so crazy. We have a picture of you guys working together. Musically, how does that work when you're with Edward James Olmos?
Pretty much you let him do whatever he wants.
Well, yeah, he's Edward James Olmos.
But, like, he's brilliant. Like, he's like, I can't really sing. You know, I mean, I opened for the Doors a few times back in the day, but, you know, that was in the 60s. And you're like, you open for the Doors? He's like, oh, everyone knows that. It's like, no one
I
knows
didn't
that.
know that.
And then,
I should have him on the show. He'd be great.
And then he does, like, 5 perfect takes, and then you just bullshit about some of the coolest stuff ever, and then he leaves.
I'm sorry, I can't resist. For most people, doors open for them.
This is a sassy one. When is your podcast Blastosaurus coming out? Yeah.
I've had so many failed podcasts at this point. I once had the 3rd most popular critically deconstructive Ninja Turtle podcast in New Zealand.
Oh, wow.
In New Zealand. Do you like how it's ... in New Zealand? And we're all like, oh. We're all like, wow. Oh. Oh, there we go.
Hey.
Applause for New Zealand. Now, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, it wasn't like the basis for your creativity, but it certainly had a big impact on your material, how you came to know children's stories and animation, right?
Oh, yeah. So I still have, when I was a kid, like, the one thing I could never do was get candy for myself. So I had
What?
to, like...
Why?
Well, you know, because I was like 3. You can't buy...
But you could write a book. This, like, award-winning novelist
so
can't get candy.
I realized that, like I would have to trick my parents into getting me candy. if I wanted to have any. And the one thing I could never get was gum. The only way to get gum was to get trading cards.
Oh.
And so I would like pretend like I really loved whatever the thing was that I
It's
saw
like
trading
My Little
cards
Pony
for.
trading cards.
And so that
Oh,
was
those were great.
So I got these Ninja Turtles trading cards, and I was like, sure, I've heard of that. And I like open it up, and like there's this card which I still have. It's like tacked to the wall of my office of Raphael putting on a hat and saying, "Here's looking at you, kid," because like
Yeah.
I know that
every
one.
kid
Yeah,
just
actually.
wants a Bogart reference. and like, but like that kind of like that disconnect is like it kind of fueled everything I've done with like, why is a turtle putting on a hat and thinking that's a valid disguise?
Well, it's like Donald Duck. Why does he wearing a shirt and no pants?
That's
Have
a
you
good
ever tried
question.
it?
Yeah.
That's right.
Have I ever tried it? I
Yes,
have
he
seen your
has,
Instagram. Yeah, but you're so lucky because you can say, "Oh, I'm blind." Like you can use that for the, your socks don't match. Oh, I'm blind. Or I'm not wearing pants. Oh, I forgot I'm blind.
I'm literally wearing a shoe and a flip flop right now. So
That is on your Instagram, I think, right?
I have a foot injury.
Oh, look at me making fun of injuries. Sorry, I make a anyway. But I want to play a video of you sketching because your blindness is so interesting because your pictures are so huge in the scope of the emotions that they evoke, the texture that your pictures have. But look, you literally are close up to the page, and I know you have to use like shorter pens so you don't like we saw poke yourself in the eye.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Background is the song, the Sweet Penny song.
What am I drawing?
Blasto.
But yeah, it's Blasto. I mean, like you are right up in there, and you have back problems because of this, right?
Oh yeah, terrible ones.
Actually, Dave Nadelberg from Mortified is obsessed with his back problems and constantly trying to find back cures for
Well, he
him.
keeps inviting me to his house to try out his weird chair.
Scott Thompson's gonna invite you over now. What I can't get over is that you can see the outline, but you really can't see the outline. Do you know what I mean?
It's so the outline doesn't show up as well on video, but I use blue pencil or like light blue stuff so it doesn't show up in scanners. It was weird that I put credits on that.
Look at me.
Well, that was a promotional video for a
Yes.
thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I have to get like crazy close to the page, and I have to draw. I have to have that's a very large picture. When I'm drawing smaller stuff like my normal comics, I actually have to angle the pen right out to the side, so I have to use like technical pens that are like a hard end to them, so that I can put them at an angle without it changing the width of the line. So like I have real trouble with brush pens and things like that.
Well, respect, big time.
Now, the emails that I got for your art was, how do you see the full picture in your mind, and then that's what you go, or do you just start drawing and then everything kind of falls into line?
With comics, I plan everything like meticulously. Like a script for a 20-page comic will be anything from 60 to 120 pages long. I will write very dense descriptions. I'll do like rough thumbnails. I have a big whiteboard at my office, and I do everything on that, and then photograph that, and then I can do that. But like I have to like spend a solid 20-30 minutes really thinking about the page right before I start to like memorize it in my head, basically. So then I can go in, draw stuff, and like know that when I pull back from it to see the whole page, I'll still be able to see that it fits in with what I was doing.
That's just crazy to me. That's like, that is a talent and something that is undescribable how you do that. Just like, Alexander being a vibraphone prodigy at such an early age. Like, how does that, these are natural talents that people have that are born with.
Well, I only see it's hard to describe, but I kind of only see in two dimensions.
Like a comic book page.
Yeah, and so
Wow.
the reason I started making books was because I was like, if I draw stuff, it gave me like a control of like what the world looked like to me.
Okay.
And like my earliest books were all like weird stories, and like I learned to read and write when I was very, very young because I was like very bored as a baby. And
You weren't getting that candy.
Right, there we go. There we go.
that was a big part
That's
of it,
what's up.
honestly.
You were like Baby Herman.
The first book that I made, I got like in horrible trouble for. And like my kindergarten teachers, kindergarten in New Zealand starts much younger, were all like worried about me and talking to my parents about how I needed to like see a therapist and all this stuff. I did a book which was about Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck were meant to meet to go and explore a haunted house. And Mickey doesn't show up, so Donald gets sad, so he goes in on his own.
Without pants.
Without, obviously. All my stories, if I don't mention the pants specifically, you can assume the subtext, there are no pants involved. And he goes into the house and he meets this ghost. And the ghost is lonely and sad because the ghost has no friends. So Donald shoots himself in the face to become a ghost.
Wait. How old are you?
I'm 3 at this point.
Oh, wow.
Oh my god.
Wow.
And
if you were doing that now, you would be put on medication and you'd be shipped off somewhere. Yeah.
Right. To New Zealand.
And so,
Or Italy.
Just like,
Yes.
just
That's
like
where the
Courtney
crazies
Love.
come from. I love Courtney.
Me too.
She and I have spent much time together.
We need to talk about this.
We do. Sure we have.
She is like the one woman I would leave my fiance for, like in a heartbeat.
She's my girl. She has worn her Golden Globe dress while sitting on the toilet while singing Sound of Music songs.
That's
Wow.
so beautiful.
That was just a Tuesday night for us.
I have a tattoo of myself as the cover of Live Through This.
Are you kidding?
100%.
Where's the
serious.
tattoo? Is it where John's
Just
tattoo is?
here.
Ew.
But I'm not saying where it ends.
That's the name of your biography too. I'm not saying where it ends. I like that.
that.
That is really good.
Yeah.
Write it. Write the music for it. So you came from New Zealand. In fact, your success was really started in New Zealand with all the conventions that you did in New Zealand and Australia. I wanted to talk to you a bit, and also Davide,
Oh my god.
coming to the U.S. at 22 years old from Italy, where the base of your creativity comes from, your influences are from that nation. Coming to the U.S., where creativity and artistry, no offense to our current artist is very uneven. What we think is creative and what is quality is not quite matching what's going on in the rest of the world. What was it like leaving that home base for coming to the U.S.?
So good.
Well, in my case, I kind of stepped out of my comfort zone, at an early age. So I moved by myself. I didn't speak English. So I was like, all right, I wanna do this by myself, So it was different. But at the same time, like growing up with, listening to music, and this is what I always wanted to do. And I kind of grew up with the American type of music,
because it was like the home of like rock and roll, right?
Right. So to me, moving to the U.S. was like, okay, I'm finally moving where all my inspirations were. So I feel kind of comfortable, even if I stepped out of my comfort zone. There's a new language and lots of things going on, but artistically, it's definitely more stimulating.
Now, growing up in Italy, were you listening to Italian rock stars, or was everybody listening to?
There's nothing. There's only like Andrea Bocelli or Pavarotti. No,
Oh yeah, he's a good rock star. Yes.
No, but I mean, obviously, the music scene is very different. So, I mean.
Well, coming here not knowing the language. I mean, well, with your face, I mean, you don't really have to speak much. You can just be like, hey, girl.
It worked out for a while.
Yeah. In any community.
Right.
So coming in contact with Crazy, because I know you've played with bands.
Yeah.
All over the place. Brian, can you move over just a little bit? Some of your fans say they can't see your beautiful face.
Oh jeez.
Can you move to your right?
Right. I'm moving to my right. Here's my face.
There you go.
Snuggle up.
Yeah.
Cool. Good.
It's either your fans or my homosexual friends. And David, get a little bit closer to
Oh yes.
to the mic.
Yep.
But coming here, what was one of the biggest things that surprised you at moving to the U.S. that you were not prepared for?
Times Square.
Times Square?
Yeah.
I love
I
Times
moved
Square.
to New York City, so imagine small town Italy.
Yeah, that's
New
a
York,
rough
Manhattan,
move.
New York City.
But if you're gonna go to the U.S., that's where to go.
And you moved straight to New York.
Right. So yeah, it was definitely shocking. Like culture shock. And even the size of your sodas, guys. I mean,
Diet soda for me. I'll have a double cheeseburger and like 4 fries.
ridiculous.
And yeah,
Right, for
yeah.
real.
Well,
that was pretty devastating to me.
But playing for all these different bands, then you come in contact with Crazy Town. We know
Yeah.
Crazy Town has been around forever.
Yes.
Is it hard stepping into the shoes of a band that's
it's so
established?
Because so it's kind of a weird story, but long story short, because we don't have much time. But so Crazy Town.
It's my show. We'll go till dawn.
No, I mean, because there are a lot of details that you don't even care about. So there's a guy in Crazy Town that plays the bass player. His name is Hazma. I've known him for a really long time. Like, we played together for probably 15 years. So, we came from the same town in Italy, and he came to see me in LA when I was in LA, and, We haven't seen each other in a while.
It's been like 2 years.
Yes, I know.
It's been 2 years for the both of you guys. It's so
Wow,
funny.
it's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's like, listen, we need a drummer, you know, and I know you, and would you be interested? And so I auditioned, and they were like, you're in. So we went on tour, like, straight up, you know, and it was like we'll try you out on this tour, you know, and it was amazing because imagine, like, I've never been.
But there's so much pressure, right? Because
there's a lot of pressure.
You're playing
but
their
I
well-known
traveled-
songs.
Right. No, I traveled a lot. I've seen so many cities, you know, because I mean, to me, this is not even, you know, that like the country I was born. So I've been in so many cities. I mean, in a short amount of time, but I've seen so many places. It was amazing. And so, you know, the tour was great. You know, they liked me a lot, and so I continue, and then another tour. And now, you know, there's a new album in the works. So, I mean, there are a lot of things going on. It's a big project, you know. There's a lot of people involved. So it's a lot of fun. Yeah.
What was your audition like? Like, what nerves did you have going in? What did they have you do? Did you listen to all their albums before you?
Well, I mean, obviously they gave me the set list and everything, you know, for the shows and stuff. And I mean, all I had to do was to just record like 2 to 3 songs and see how, you know, it sounded and, you know, the groove and everything. And they really liked it. So the funny part is that I mean, I kind of grew up with, you know, Butterfly and all that. So I was like, wow, that's kind of cool that
and Butterfly is so different from the rest of their stuff too. By
really
the way,
is.
it was like, oh yeah, I love Butterfly. Wow, Crazy Town.
Right. No,
and
it's
they go to a
definitely-
concert and you know
it's
they
a
end up
rock
half
show.
dead. Right.
It's a rock show.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people don't know because they associate Crazy Town to Butterfly.
Yeah.
But it's a really like it's a rock show, so it's very powerful and, you know, like intense. Like it's fun. It's a fun show.
So there's actually some guerrilla video of you. Let's take a peek at Davide in action.
Oh my God.
And of course, this is for Butterfly. And I love how Butterfly has gotten grungier, and it's not like Butterfly. It's like Butterfly.
More vibraphone.
Right.
Yes, more cowbell.
Right.
Right.
Oh, here I am.
Yeah, there's our boy.
Right.
This is guerrilla video. There we go.
Nice.
It's funny to see the band age.
Right.
I mean, they look great, but
I remember when he used to hang at Ledoux all the time.
really.
Yeah.
And so, Brian, I want to talk to you about this as well because
Ledoux, I haven't heard of that place.
I
Right,
know,
right.
Taking it. I mean, I just age check myself, bro.
Yeah, me
But-
too.
But Brian, you have guest starred on many big shows that have their following, have their audience, they have their energy. It's like, okay, let's read through on Monday. We're going to be filming, blah blah blah.
Sure.
How do you come in matching that level? How do you build the chemistry with a cast that already has
Fake
built
it.
their
You just
chemistry?
fake it.
But it's a little intimidating,
No,
right?
It's yeah, you know, for shows that have been going on for a long time, you know, it's when you go into that situation, it's like, what's this going to be like? Sometimes it's on a show that's been on for 8 seasons. Like,
Yeah.
do they hate their jobs? Or are they everyone just wanting to get? It's like whatever time.
yeah.
Like, we
and do
need
you have
get
to
outta
watch
here.
like all the seasons just to be on it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
No, I don't do that much. Yeah, so it's great. But you get to meet like a whole swath of people, you know, which is amazing.
What I love is that when you do your comedy videos on Funny or Die,
Sure.
you have such a different personality. When you act like you're acting, it's like, okay, yeah, he is an actor. Do you take your improv fundamentals when you approach a character? What is your actor's approach? Do you subscribe to an acting
Yeah, like a
theory
like a
or
philosophy.
way? Yeah, like, you know.
As far as like the craft of acting.
Yeah, you're like, oh, I'm with the actor studio and I'm going to do method acting. Because you have to be able to use your improv.
I think, like, for me, it's like sort of like I just do my own thing. I've taken a ton of acting classes, and you know, I first started studying with like Jeff Goldblum at Playhouse West years and years ago. So that was like its whole own experience.
He is a weirdo.
Yeah,
he
but,
plays
like,
jazz at Rockwell every Wednesday
Yeah,
night.
I
Yeah.
love
He's
there.
He
guy's
wears a lot
everywhere.
of rings. I know that.
A
Well,
lot of rings, a lot of
yes.
hats, a lot of glass. I mean,
Right.
but,
A lot of girls.
But he's so brilliant when it comes to like just diving into that sort of thing. So for me, it's like I'm always when I get material to audition, I'm just always like mining for information and trying to figure out how I can get a leg up. sort of to make a discovery that maybe someone else wouldn't make.
And how, because I know you've been on shows from the OC, which was a few years ago, to like...
Played a male gigolo on the OC. No one.
How old were you?
No one
a male gigolo in high school?
13.
That's how they do it in OC, by the way. We know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Man, I don't. That show was like 10 years ago, 15 years. Yeah.
A little old.
We're
A little bit old. Yeah. But what I've heard from our players that have guests on sitcom, even Joanna Cassidy, she was on Life in Pieces. Mindy Sterling was on Life in Pieces, and they were saying they're not used to the way that they're filming it because they go on set and they're given the script with rewrites. I'm like, okay, no rehearsal, and let's film. They don't even let them like breathe in the scene. They don't let them do reshoots. They don't let them explore the characters because filming has become so. Got to get it done. Have you found that?
Everything has. Like, everything is like, we're just living in a push-button society, guys, right? So everyone wants things done this quick. You need to get information off the internet or whatever. Like, whatever it is, everyone's trying to, like, do things at this lightning-fast speed. And when it comes to creativity, like, that doesn't... There's a certain part of urgency that's good for creativity, right? But when you're looking to just get a product out, you're just trying to make some cookie-cutter thing that...
That's a thing,
you know, probably doesn't land a lot of times. And that's why shows get canceled or whatever.
They don't have room to breathe.
Sure.
Right.
I think, you know, I've been lucky enough to to guest star on a lot of shows that had great directors or great producers or whatever, and it's been a fantastic experience.
Now, Alexander, do you find that there's is there just too much music out there and too many people creating videos on YouTube and this? Is it too much oversaturation? Are people rushing their final product?
Yes and no. I think that we're going through extremes. I think that people spend the last decade like over perfecting everything and quantizing and editing stuff and taking all the soul out. And now people are going to the other extreme of like, let's just capture the moment. I don't care what's about to happen. We're just capturing a moment. That's what we want to see. And I think that's a natural reaction to what was happening for the past decade. And what the hope is in the next couple of years, we kind of find a happy balance between the two. Because both extremes are unhappy to me or produce unhappy results.
I had the benefit that I was raised in a house that we had tons of records. And so when you listen to the Frank Sinatra albums, the Tony Bennett albums, the old MGM musicals, and you realize how they had to record these, they recorded them with a live orchestra, and they were recording on the record. There was no, let's go back to this third second and change this and change the pitch and all that. There was none of that. It was raw. It was naked. And it sounds as good, if not better, than what we're producing now, because now it's so vanilla. And so, Jack, that's what I love about what Crazy Town is doing. They're gritty, and they're still performing and giving it its all.
I got to ask you a quick Crazy Town question. So I toured with Say Ferris, and people, I'm in my early 30s, but people talk to me and be like, hey, remember 94 when we did this or 95 when we did that? I'm like, I was 10 years old then, and I'll sometimes play along, sometimes not. But have people come up to you and presume that they...
All the time, yeah. Hey, I grew up with your music. And I mean,
it's like,
what do you say?
I literally grew up.
What do you do when that happens?
Well, I mean, I'm just like, hey, thanks, man. But I mean, at the same time, you know, I mean, obviously, you felt the same. You know, it was 1999. It was 2000. So at that time, I was 11 years old. So.
I love it if you were just like giving the real explanation. Man. Here's the deal. Here's what happened.
Yeah, but they don't want to hear that.
Short story long.
They don't want to hear that.
I was in Italy.
So,
I was an 11-year-old drummer.
No, so it's just easier to say, hey, thanks, man. I appreciate you for coming to the show.
You're a liar. You're such a liar.
I know, I am.
Now, along those same lines, Richard, you know, putting out a comic book, now there's so much content that you need to do. You need to do a web series. You need to do it as an animation. You need to do it as a graphic novel. You have to sell it, break it up into parts. Now you're being told so much of what your material
feels like
has to be.
I thought I just had to make a comic.
Right, but because I've
media
seen,
society, though.
And I've seen your career go from... you did your stuff in New Zealand, and then you did the children's books, and then Blastosaurus was animated, and it was... There's so much content. Do you feel the pressure that you have to now settle your creativity to make the demands of your fans and also your business?
Well, it becomes like it's a really tough balance between like giving new content to fans who want it early and not actually creating extra work for yourself. So like perfecting the idea, like I have to keep reminding myself every time I finish penciling a page, I have to scan it so I can show it to people, rather than just being like pencil, ink, color, done, and then that's 1/24th of a comic issue finished. because like showing a completed comic means that once a month people get reminded I exist, as opposed to 3 or 4 times a day, as people keep telling me that I'm meant to be doing.
I've heard that. Yeah, that's overkill though in my experience.
Yeah, I
like
completely
once a
agree.
day is good.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think like, but I'm also someone who like I always say like I want to do a different thing every week. I don't want to get bored. So like I will be working on 5 or 6 different projects, and now the more demand there is for each of those projects, the fewer projects I can do. And there's this weird balance because people are like, "Hey, we really want more Ghost as well as more this thing," and I'm like, "Just let me do one. Just like if you want 30 things a month, then you have to let me do one of them to that level."
What I have to say about your art is you have a running theme in terms of there's, like I said, a texture to your characters, but your characters are also so different. They don't fit the same mold. And that's what I love about your art. It's so varied and diverse. Your vision really has a huge scope of how you interpret your message and how it comes across. Like we have images like this. This is your David Lynch drawing, which is so different than like Sweet Penny and the Lion, and it has such an emotion the minute you see it. Kurt, play some of the other pictures as well. And then your self-portraits, which are so naked to me because they're raw, and this is how close that you get.
Yeah, that's a good representation of how I draw everything.
That's exhausting.
Sounds comfy.
Oh yeah, no, my back is super.
Yeah.
Let's take a little peek at Sweet Penny and the Lion. Let's look at the trailer, and this is with.
Hey, while the trailer's happening, can I go pee?
Oh, okay. Yes. We actually have an emergency one right behind you.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
All right, I'll be back when you play
It's the bucket.
Yeah. You could have done that off air, but okay, let's let everybody know. Nobody listen. Let's take a peek at the trailer.
Does it really have a show?
But he's peeing right now. He's
peeing. No, Amanda Palmer's from the Dresden Dolls, right?
Yeah.
And this art is so different in itself, too.
No, that's amazing. I had no idea. You've worked with Amanda Palmer. That's fantastic.
I actually didn't work with her.
Did you not?
No.
They weren't speaking.
I take it all back.
My friend Jared Luxa, who's an amazing producer and engineer, he ran front of house and mixed a bunch of Amanda Palmer stuff. I was like, hey, I'm a huge Amanda Palmer fan. She did a musical version of Pierre that I love, so she might really like this. Could you please get her a copy of this and maybe get a quote? I'm calling it my one favor for the free work I've done with you over the years. And Jaron was awesome and reached out to Amanda and we got that quote. But
that's amazing. Yeah, I've actually seen them here in L.A. It's been years ago, but yeah. I love their song Boston. Fantastic band.
Amazing.
Right.
So Sweet Penny and the Lion, it's not just for kids whatsoever. How did Richard and you meet? So you tell me your story when he's done.
So Richard thought I was a creepy fanboy, actually.
Oh, interesting.
So I'm in a band, Magnolia Memoir, and Mel, the lead singer, as you said in my way too long of a bio, is a very well-known...
I cut half of it out, by the way, too.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
It's crazy. It's crazy who you've worked with.
You sounded like a rapper over there.
No, but he's like...
Well, I feel like I've been like this Zelig of the industry. But yeah, so Mela does all these fan conventions because she's the lead voice for like Durarara, Fate's Day Night. What's her big one? Vampire Night. Plays a lot of vampires, I guess.
Ladybug.
Oh yeah, that's her current one.
Yep.
So I wind up going to all these fan conventions and we perform as a duo, or we'll pick up a band where we are. We now have a set band that we'd fly with. So Richard just kept seeing me backstage at all these fan conventions.
Stalker.
You know.
Well, cause I'm there as a comic guest, but I'm back from the.
But you go to every convention too, by the way.
I gotta be honest. I was so tempted to come back buttoning up my shirt to confuse people, and I didn't do it, and I regret it.
The Ghost of B. Arthur's in there. She'll rough you up real good.
Excuse me.
I enjoyed every part. The Ghost told me. No, I'm not going to do that joke.
You love
I was going to say the Ghost told me they would show Orton, but Yeah, well, no, I was the comic guest at all these conventions.
Like we were in London together, Australia, New Zealand. Like
Yeah,
because Richard, I've heard you don't say no to a convention because you love that experience so
it's
much.
So fun. So like I've been obsessed with retail since I was 3 years old. Like there was
that begs an explanation.
There was a store in New Zealand called the Toy Warehouse, and it was literally a warehouse of toys. And you could go in through the front door, or you could park on the roof of the building and go in through this weird little shack and go across this catwalk above the whole.
You love
store.
that catwalk, didn't you?
My daughter would eat that up.
Yes.
And I remember the first day I ever bought a Ninja Turtles toy. I tripped over on the catwalk and I like hit the ground and just remember like looking down and seeing all of these toys and all of these people buying toys and being happy because they were buying cheap things and feeling good about it. And I was like, that's what I wanted.
That's why I love Amoeba.
Yeah,
I love Amoeba.
It's the best.
And toys really are key to opening our imagination. I still have all the original Star Wars toys, and I have them in a storage unit because those were my storytelling.
That's so
those
cool.
were my friends.
I love that.
Yeah, and so like and toys back when I was a kid, the Ninja Turtle toys especially, like they had like hand drawn packaging. They
had
weren't the same
real
way.
toys.
They were so
That's
cool.
Did you have too many toys? Like, because I have a 2-year-old daughter right now, and I'm like trying to limit the amount of toys. First off, everyone at the holidays, everyone's trying to get you this toy, that toy. There's my tiny house is now filled with like so many.
Well, what you have
toys.
to do is
Mine
like,
too, just
get them
different
to
toys.
love
No.
I'm just kidding.
If you ever want
You're
guests
not.
to not
You're
use your
not.
shower, just use the suction cup
Right.
ones on the wall. What you should do is like just make sure they fall in love with one specific toy.
Right.
Make up a story for your kid that you tell them at night about them on an adventure with like their plush toy elephant or whatever,
Right.
and then they'll be like
Okay.
nothing else matters. When I was a kid, I had my first fictional character crush was on Master Splinter, which explains a lot of my life. And so what I did was I very diligently saved up all my money, and I bought every turtle, and then I bought Splinter so that I could put the turtles in a wheelbarrow, put them on the other side of the room, and then hang out with Master Splinter while they had adventures.
Wow.
Oh, kinky.
It's pretty involved. Right.
I got to be upfront. My fiance is 72. I don't know if it.
And you really are wearing one shoe and a flip flop.
I think it's really satisfying to take your shoes off
this
when they're
story,
a
no.
little too
No,
tightly
no.
tied. And I went too far and ripped all the skin off the back of my foot.
Oh, okay, there we go.
wow.
You are
There
just
it
like
is.
American Horror Story, Richard Fairgray.
Right.
Poke me in the eye and take off my skin.
Oh, which season was that?
Right. That's coming up. But Richard,
that's
didn't
my Grindr name.
didn't a pro wrestler steal a part of your toy when you guys shared a hotel room at one of the Comic Cons?
There's always
I do research here.
By the way, there's always a wrestler and a survivor person at most of the conventions you do.
That is true.
Survivor's clinging on for dear life.
We actually became friends because of a survivor. I don't want to say star because they're not that I hated, who was at the same convention, and I ended up avoiding him for a long time. So I thought he was friends with the survivor.
Yeah,
But you can use the excuse. Oh, I didn't see you. Sorry.
But yeah, we met in. We finally started talking in that van.
Well, we started.
That sounds weird.
No.
Wait, this just gets stranger and stranger.
Right.
No, we started talking at a party when I thought you were the guy from
Seth Green.
Married with Children.
Oh, Dave Faustino. Yeah.
Yeah, because he was a guest at the same convention.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, like, Mella's always
We're
a
the
guest
same
at the
size, so we
shows.
actually got confused a lot from behind.
But yeah, they did.
I could say another cheap joke, but I will not.
Everyone looked at you.
I know. That is so weird. Everybody did. I was like,
because Mella's in all these anime things, she was the guest at the convention, and the band were also there, but they weren't like named, so I didn't know who Alex was, and so I thought that because a lot of these parties, fans can like buy tickets for an exorbitant amount of money to come and like stand awkwardly next to their
And
favorite
meet and greet,
actors.
yeah.
And then they
Right,
give all
right.
the guest drink for free, so we're
Yeah.
happy to be there.
Yeah, exactly. And so I didn't know that he was not just a really dedicated fan who went to multiple countries to visit these people. And so then when I thought he was the guy from Married with Children, I was like, oh, hey, aren't these things weird? And then we got talking, and then we ended up having like weird amounts of mutual friends despite being from other sides of the world. The wrestler thing was that I was at a convention in 2010, and a publisher had like completely screwed up. They misprinted my book awfully, and like couldn't
missing
release it.
pages, and it was in black and white.
It was awful. Like
You really do your research.
Yeah, you.
Girl, I know everything about you. In fact, Brian, I know your social security number.
I jokingly I was doing an interview a while back, and I jokingly said a combination of my phone number and my best friend from childhood's phone number as if it was someone's social security number, and then I get like an email the next day being like, "How did you know my social security number?" from a complete like random person. So this.
Can I have that?
Yes.
Right.
So this publisher screwed up. They were trying their best, but they weren't good at anything. And also, first person ever to be forced to pay back Kickstarter. Look it up. So I'm not naming names. But they decided that because they'd failed so terribly at releasing this book at Comic-Con, they were going to cancel their hotel rooms and go home. And I was like, I'm from New Zealand. I can't go home. And they were like, okay, well, we're friends with this wrestler. We're going to put you in a room with him for the night. And I was like, sure.
Good match.
I get in it like...
It's like a Showtime special.
It sounds like TV,
I don't know this guy. Like, I don't know anything about him, but he's just like a wrestler, you know? And so I get in at like 3 a.m, and I come into the room, and he's like sleeping on the floor. I'm like, well, that's nice.
It wasn't Mickey Rourke like.
He's in a
practicing like in character.
Jesus, I wish. I gotta be upfront. He was in his wrestling outfit.
Done.
With a blanket
Awesome.
over
He could
him.
sleep wherever he wants.
And
always in character.
But
right there we go. He's dedicated.
So this to give you some context of time, he'd paid for Troy on pay-per-view at the hotel, and he had it playing
With
on
Brad Pitt?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was
That's
playing,
when you've hit a low.
It was just playing on the screen when I came in, and I was like, okay, sure. So I got into bed, turned it off. He sat like bolt upright in bed like a cartoon and just yelled, "I need that to sleep." I was like, all right, and turned it back on. The next morning, I woke up really early, and I went over, and I'd bought this. I'm going to reveal my nerdiness here.
Because you haven't already.
Right.
Yes.
Reveal the wrestler.
I put the turtles in another room so I could be alone with Splinter.
I put them in a wheelbarrow in the same room. It wasn't weird.
They had a bar mitzvah. Poor Alexander's waiting for
I
his
want to get to
breast.
the part where this guy ripped your skin off.
So
Right.
he had a bag of pills that were on the dresser, and
Vitamins.
They were purple, blue, and white, which was the same color as the Star the Conqueror action figure that I'd bought at Comic-Con.
Wait, who?
He's a giant starfish from space who has mind control.
What's
Obviously,
he
As
from?
they do.
What's he from?
from Justice League.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Never mind. Long story.
Channing Tatum is going to play him since he has time.
Oh,
He's single now.
It's motion capture. He's just doing a star jump the whole time. But so
Are you speaking English still?
right.
barely.
Thank you.
So I had this. So,
Kiwi, speaking
but
Kiwi.
because they release, what are they called here? Jumping jacks. Because they released the toy to look exactly like the comic cover, the little starfish that could go on the Justice League's faces came in a separate bag.
what?
And so I had these little mind control starfish in a separate bag sitting next to the toy, and they were the same color as the pills. And so I wake up in the morning, he's left, and there's a bag of pills on the dresser, the same color as the starfish, and no starfish toys. And I'm
He
like,
thought, oh my god.
now what am I mean, I guess I can use these for mind control, but
I mean, did you sell them?
He still has them.
no, I don't want to admit things, but like I'll tell you a story later.
And your podcast got canceled. Who knew?
Right.
It's a podcast. You have to
I'm
cancel
just
yourself
kidding you.
from failure and sadness.
Excuse me. Hello. Do you see the glory I have? I have all you guys here. I want to take a peek at Alexander in action, at his keyboard action. This is a video from Magnolia Memoir. You guys check out.
Oh Jesus! You have our
This
first
work.
music video.
Yeah, and I wanted to blast from the past.
Wow, you did
guys-
real research for this.
Oh yes, I do. So let's take a peek at Alexander in action. Oh, that voice. Oh, there's our boy. Listen to this. Oh, there's Margaret. Yep.
Nice.
Flexible.
Watch the full video, but I mean, just that. I mean, that's
Right.
yeah.
I mean, that's
Wow.
really cool.
I literally haven't seen that since 2010.
Wow.
But that's funny because that's that certain genre, but then the other genre, like you literally can fit every genre. Let's play the teaser for Afterlife. This is what's coming up for Magnolia Memoir. It's because it's a whole different sound. That's all you got. That's all you got.
I mean, if I knew you were going to do research, I would have actually brought the song.
Right.
Oh,
Can we bring up the tickling sequence that I guess?
So I forgot what that was 8 years ago. So people went from high school to having doctorates in that time. So I can't quite remember everything. But Margaret was who gave me my start. She saw me play and was like, "Oh, I love your band. I'd love to shoot a video for you." And then after the video shoot that she paid for because she's amazing, she was like, "Hey, so I paid for that, so you're now my piano slave. I'm doing a record and you're going to play on it for free. Tomorrow we're recording at Ben Lee's studio with Fiona Apple." And that
Who's
was
that?
Right.
And that was literally the start of my career, was because of her bringing me in, helping me introducing me to these people.
All right.
Amazing.
And treating me like an equal in these rooms with all these people who are like, "Oh, Margaret says he's legit. You want to produce this?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And then I'd go vomit in the bathroom, come out and be normal. But something happened and filming got delayed or didn't happen or we lost something. I can't remember. And Margaret was like, "Oh, I found this weird piano suspender. So since we can't do the shot, why don't you just do the solo on my suspenders?" And then I remember playing on her suspenders, being really careful not to touch her boob.
I noticed that.
And then afterwards, her being like, "Do you think I really care? Like, what's wrong with you? Like, don't you know my career?"
that really shaped you because, like, you actually, the pianos in the house, you have labeled the boob keys that you want to touch. Very strange.
But that was like, I remember being so scared of touching her boob playing like on that video.
Well, hey, what a gentleman.
There we
What a
go.
gentleman. Still a virgin. Brian, we got this email a lot. A lot of people want to follow in your footsteps in the fact that you guest on great TV shows, but you have this huge presence on Funny or Die.
Right.
How did you make connection with Funny or Die is the first question. Second question is, do you feel a pressure, or did you feel a pressure when you're like, okay, it has to fit their standards, it has to be funny for them, not just funny for me?
I think everything I've done, like, is just that I've created is just more of like, hey, what I get a kick out of. Some of the stuff that has gone semi-viral or whatever, like, you just never know what's gonna hit.
Isn't that the weirdest thing?
It's so
you think that'd
so
be hilarious
strange.
and no.
Yeah, the things like that hit are like the things that you come up with last second, like call a buddy, call a friend, come over and do this thing, and then that's off to the races or whatever. The thing you plan for like months and months and months, like, is a dud. So I don't know, like I just start creating content and then send it to them, and they're like, "Hey, we love this," and put it up on their front page, and sort of got a following like that. Yeah.
Let's take a peek at the Australian video, because this was a while ago, but this really went viral. So the whole premise, we're going to play the whole thing. The premise is that you kept losing parts to... yes, I like to see you in bed.
There it is.
He's straight.
Set it up, throw it down.
But the joke is that all the roles that you went to audition for went to Australian actors like Hugh Jackman. So let's take a peek at this.
Everyone's pissed.
I just love the look on their faces.
Yeah. What's this dude wearing?
Great didgeridoo music.
He's like, "Why didn't you hire me for that?" I play the didgeridoo.
The waiting room.
Brian Guest.
So oddly enough, the guy that's playing the director in this little short sketch right there on the left, Anthony Hemingway, is the director-producer of Unsolved.
You ready?
Yeah.
The Brooklyn Bridge can't hold my love for you, Jimmy.
I would ride a kangaroo across the canal.
I love how the women are so unimpressed and the guys are like,
I've
"Yeah."
been waiting to spend my whole life with.
Throw away I love so many times, but you're the boomerang I just can't get rid of.
Jimmy. Never let me go.
Oh, crikey. I'm gonna hold you as tight as a crocodile and then celebrate our love by drinking this Foster's. It's Australian for beer.
Just trying to think of so many Australian things to like bring in, you know.
Look at them.
It's a real beer, by the way. Drank that. Had the whole 64 ounces. That's Anthony.
And this video went viral. Do you remember the first moment you realized it went viral and you're like, oh, crap?
Yeah. That's Deadline put it up on their website or whatever. And because it was a thing. It was like it tapped into this sort of like zeitgeist of a thing that was happening. There was a ton of Australian actors that were getting cast. And so Deadline had put it up, and within like minutes of that, just my phone and email just started blowing up.
Wow.
For like interviews, like, you know, newspaper, like people in Australia were like contacting me. It was pretty insane.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's amazing. They're like, are you really from here?
Yeah.
Where are you?
Yeah,
You know
from?
the language.
It was so authentic.
Right.
Right. Nice. Very
Nice.
I'm doing the gay Kath and Kim from Australia, and you're doing like that. So let's talk about family for a bit. You are
Sure.
a father,
My dad.
Jonna, and you're also a father.
Oh, yeah.
There has to be this balance of like, yes, I want to work and, you know, pay my bills, and I'm going to play this role, but there has to be at the back of your mind is like, well, my image is also to my family. How do you
I
deal
have
with
zero
it?
integrity, so I don't care what
Right.
anything looks like at this
Absolutely.
point. No, I don't know. How do you feel, Jonna?
I feel fantastic. Thank you for asking.
I mean, for me, well, as far as like image goes, I'm not really concerned about that. My daughter's too. I do want to
Right.
like have a, you know, I want to be a good person and lead by example.
I saw your sexual harassment Funny or Die.
Right.
There's a
Right.
double cider in there.
There's a double cider in there. I might have to take that down at some point. But you know, as far as like creativity or whatever, it's only pushed me to like work harder and do more stuff. It's
Right on.
You know,
Yeah.
it feels like I don't know what I did when I didn't have a kid. There's so much time during the day that I just was like, whatever. Now there's like zero time during the day, and I feel like I'm doing way more stuff, which is crazy.
Yeah, that's truth right there.
Yeah.
For sure. What's your daughter's first name?
Ryan.
Ryan. Nice.
Oh.
Yeah. Ryan and Brian.
Cool.
I
Very
love
cool.
children so much. It fills me with joy. Now, Davide, we have to talk about you and relationships.
Okay.
I'm not going to give any secrets, but you have dated people. You've had your heart broken. You've been in love. Being on the road, you come in contact with so many like groupies. And well, and then also being in the modeling world,
Right.
which I love because you as a model, some of your photos and campaigns are stunning. And for you, modeling is like, like you don't play that model persona.
Right.
You're not doing like,
Yeah.
this is my modeling shoot from last week.
I
You're like,
know,
I'm
because
going to
the
eat a
modeling
pizza.
thing was always like something that I never really cared for, but it was just. Well, I mean,
Me too.
I mean, it really came around like randomly, and I'm like, sure. So, you know, it started in Italy, and it got big with a big like Dolce & Gabbana shooting, and you know.
But wait, go back. Were you asked? Did they see you somewhere and say?
Right. Well, I was playing music, so that kind of gave me a little bit of exposure, you know.
platform, yeah.
Right. So, you know, photographers like, hey, I want to take some picture of you, and I'm like, sure, okay.
Now,
You
did
know.
you get like 8 creepy old guys before that being
Oh
like,
yeah,
hey,
all the
I'm
time.
a photographer?
Totally. Yeah, of course. The only good thing we don't have Craigslist in Italy yet. Yet.
Well, now Craigslist is nowhere.
Wait, what?
They took off. Oh.
Wait, what?
Just so you guys know, they
What?
took off all the the personals on Craigslist.
How am I meant?
Oh, man.
Never mind.
Well, I'm not surprised.
How
You're
do
the
you
only
know
one that
that?
knows
How do you
that.
meet
Because
people
I
now?
get a pop culture email. That's why. Dirty
Right,
man.
right.
No
I
more
got a
misconnections.
premium account.
So the Republicans can't find a boyfriend. They took off all of the misconnections. They took off all of the personals. It's all. It's all.
hey-o.
Yep,
Wow.
it's all gone.
But I can still buy like a new table there.
Right.
Yes, your table just can't identify as any orientation. Can't be a gay table, and we
Can
know
it
most of
not?
the tables you own are probably gonna
Literally
be gay.
every table I own is gay.
Yes.
I-
Leg up.
yeah, it is.
What about the wheelbarrow?
Oh God.
But yeah, no. So, yeah, the modeling thing was kind of random, like all the time, but it worked out. You know, it was easy money to me, so I was like, yeah, sure, why not? And I collected, you know, interesting things on the way. But yeah, relationship-wise is horrible. I mean, it's terrible. Even being on tour, you know, you're gone like all the time. You do like 1 month on, and you go to 30. We literally played 31 shows in 32 days. So I mean, it's been like.
So you got a day off. That's nice.
Yeah, one day
right?
off. Yeah, it was Christmas, you know, it was nice. But I mean, you know, like going like that all the time, which is like a lot of fun, but you also have to, you know, understand that you can't devote your time very much to a significant other.
And you're Italian, so you're a Casanova. You want to do the whole romance.
Right.
Is life on the road as a rock star really true? Like, is it...
Well, you've been on the road too, so I would say
Alexander's a good boy, though. He'd be like, I have to go to bed.
I'm a good boy too.
Yes,
I'm a good boy.
There's a PBS special. I need to watch
I'll
it.
say, like,
go home and write poetry.
I would just say it's a job.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, it's intense, you know, it's fun. It's a blessing, you know, you go to places all the time. You get to meet a lot of people and you get to do what you love, which is amazing. And
did you get set up with a wrestler and have them rip your skin off?
That's the real question. I'm dying to hear who this wrestler is when we turn these mics off.
No, but at the same time, you know, it's just it's a job. So it's not like sex, drugs, and rock and roll, you know? I mean, you got to be at the next venue the next day. So you got to get your stuff together, you know?
A lot of the time, too, there's no actual even possibility.
No,
like
yeah,
you play the show, and then you have 30 minutes
impossible,
before you're going on the bus.
Right.
And
so
then
it's your band members?
right.
Do you remember
That's
that
okay.
night?
Also, 30 minutes, that's like a relationship.
Right?
Well...
28.
Well, because Mr. Fairgrade, do you mind if I talk about your recent...
Like, literally go with... Like, I am an open book on every level.
All right, well, I have to say, you know, I do my research, and I go years in the past.
Okay, yeah.
Sorry about that bankruptcy, Brian.
It was a bad spin on a wheel, you know?
No, but I was reading interviews, and you were talking about your wife and all that, and I was just like, oh. And I thought, oh, we have all straight people here. You ruined my skew.
I'm so sorry. I know that you wanted this to become a straight podcast and get some legitimacy. I keep calling him my boyfriend, but my fiance, he asked me when I said I was going to be on the radio. He said, "Oh, is it a disabled show?" And I said,
"Well, it depends how much vodka we've had."
I said, No, it's a gay show." And he said, "Oh, okay, same."
Is it though?
Well, and I was like, "Oh, that's nice of you, thank you, honey." He's listening right now, live. It's nerve-wracking.
Well, he's an older gentleman. He can click on the internets.
Look.
Honestly, it's a joke, sweetie.
honestly, I am his tech support, but
well, that's like the blind leading the blind. Oh, God,
nice.
Kurt.
So yeah, no, I'm an open book about this. I spent my teenage years having a lot of I'm gonna say relationships, but let's be honest. With men and women, and then I ended up marrying a girl for terrible reasons, and now I'm engaged to a lovely man.
Now, how did the breakup go?
It took a long time. I came out here for to just. I decided randomly
you
after...
came out here and sent her a text.
No, I decided...
It was the wrestler, wasn't it?
40 years too young for me. I've never slept with a man younger than 58, and the 58-year-old was gross. I need a drink.
So do I after that statement.
Right.
Oldies but goodies.
I decided to...
Good memoir title.
Yeah. I decided to come to LA for just to see what would happen because I'd been doing comics and what have you for ages, and I was kind of like reaching my peak in New Zealand, and so I traveled to LA for a few weeks. I keep trying to avoid saying the words "came out to LA" for a few weeks, and it went really well. And I went back to New Zealand, and I'd been away for like 6 weeks, and all I'd cared about was like I really missed my dog. And that was a bad sign. And then I got back to New Zealand, and I told my wife at the time how well it went, and she was like, "Oh, that's good," and then kind of walked away. And I was like, "We have to move to LA." And she said to me, "Oh, I would never want to live there. The weather's too hot." And without batting an eyelid without thinking for even a second. I said, "Oh, that's fine. I'll go without you." And then walked upstairs, got on my computer, and emailed everyone I know, including Alex, in the U.S. and said, "Will you marry me so I can get a green card?" And I feel like at that point I kind of checked out of the marriage. And then a few months later, we officially broke up because I called her from a convention and she was like, "I think our marriage is over." And I was like, "That's a terrible time to tell me. I still have to be here selling comics for 2 days."
Right on.
And I'll say, because I knew you as a married man originally, you were a completely different human. You were
very sad,
very unhappy, constantly, and drinking 2 bottles of wine at least every night.
What's wrong with that?
And
that's breakfast for me, by the way. If Denny's sold that as a breakfast, I would be there.
Wasn't it vodka and cranberry?
Let's be honest. It was the equivalent of 2 bottles of wine, but it was from a cardboard box. So,
okay, like knowing you single and who you are now, I've never seen you happier.
Yeah.
Well, that's very sweet, and it's funny that you felt that pressure. But the interviews, because I've listened to your interviews, I've seen the videos, and there's a whole different energy. And so what you said is very, very true in your responses, and I think in your art too. So nobody stay in the closet.
No, like honestly, like if you. This might sound like really inside and like very comic nerdy, but like if you look at my old comics, you can tell that I'm gripping the pen too tight. You can tell that I'm like holding, like I'm like pressing on the page. I'm like angry and miserable all of the time. And a lot of it was because I was working with a co-writer who I never had any kind of relationship with, never wanted any kind of, was never attracted to, but he definitely falls into the category
because he was older.
Yeah,
Terry, right?
Yeah, Terry. He was he was an old man who I'd been friends with since I was 13, and I'd been writing with since I was 15, and there was a huge pressure because I was like, I want to have relationships with men in their 60s and 70s, but I also don't want to like accidentally out my friend who is like a straight married man.
Now back up. How do you get to the point where you're like, okay, this is like, these are the guys I want to go for, these older dudes, like how did that happen? Was that something that you
honestly,
were kind of born with?
I always wanted to cuddle Master Splinter. I used to write fan fiction about me and Mr. McGregor from Peter Rabbit.
Oh my God!
Wow. Where because I hated Peter Rabbit, so we had that in common. And like, what, you think you're better than other rabbits because you wear a fucking jacket? So
yes, I do. Oh wait, what?
So I would, I do all this stuff, and then I developed this really intense crush on Maurice Sendak, who did Where the Wild Things Are, and more importantly, Pierre, my favorite book.
Which I talked about when you're in the bathroom.
Weird. This time, not just.
We talked mad shit about. We had a whole other podcast while you were in the bathroom, by the way.
And so like I spent a long time trying to analyze this because I'm a neurotic person, but I think that like really it's that these people like older people are more well drawn. Like if I was going to draw a picture, a lot of people ask me to draw.
There's more definition and more.
Well, people ask me to draw pictures of their babies when they're like, "Hey, can you draw a picture of my baby for this book?"
That.
And I'm like, "Yeah, but it'll look like every other baby. Like it's just like a circle with some dots on it. That's a face." And they're like, "Oh, you really captured them." I'm like, "No, I didn't." It's like
somebody clip that and make that a soundbite.
But I feel like also, Richard, you have an old soul. Like you have.
Yeah, that is.
You have an old
it's just,
soul.
No, it's just worn out and damaged. But thank you. But like then when I was in my 20s, I met this wonderful man who I had a probably very unhealthy relationship for the majority of the time I was married. I had an actual relationship with him briefly, and then we kind of never broke up and just had an email thing for 8 years.
Well, because he became vice president of the United States. So.
Listen, he's my fiance and I, we always say Mike Pence is our unicorn. It's not true. It's not.
Reach
true.
for the stars, sweetie.
I'd take one for the team on that if I could get video. No, but
we're all silent. No,
right.
We're all like,
what? No one wants to see that video.
We're open-minded, but we're not that open-minded.
Right.
Cool. No. So it's always been like older men, and for the most part with women outside of Courtney Love, it's older women too. I mean, she is older.
She is an old woman. Believe me, she could recite French poetry to you, and she could talk about literature that you just sit there and you listen to her talk for hours on end.
I fell in love with her when I was 6 years old. Like I think I might be the world's like foremost expert on Courtney Love at this point.
You ate a lot of things as a child. You ate candy.
Right.
3 years old was your busiest year.
Right.
Like when I was 6, my family bought like a decent stereo, and we got to choose three things on vinyl. I say it on vinyl, like 3 things that were the option to have then. That we could take home, and I saw the cover for Pretty on the Inside, and I was like, can we get that? It's so good. It looks so pretty, and then we bought that, and I immediately like just fell in love with Hole, and I have been.
I'm not going to do it.
Yeah,
too easy.
Too easy.
Cool. And it's like I actually the boyfriend I had in my 20s.
I mean, it's so funny, right?
Brian, I don't want to make you're turning red right now.
I mean, like it's hilarious. Like just throw that up, and it's just like
it's a Funny or Die. Film it right now.
Okay.
But the boyfriend I had in my 20s actually like the reason
was 102.
He was.
You have chosen wisely.
He'd be the exact same age as my fiance. He's 72 now. I had lunch with him 2 years ago. It was very boring. We made out for 45 minutes. His electric car went
his
dead.
lunch is at 10 a.m., by the way.
His electric car went dead, and he had to call his husband to come and charge it. It was a bad day. But, you know, yeah.
Let's reread My Grandpa is, right?
You never told me. You never told me about the car dying.
Outside Paul's house.
Oh, Paul's the co-writer for Blastosaurus. Plug.
But you know, like he and I actually in a like hotel room in New Zealand. He's a musician, and he said to me he was over there working on a film, and
playing for Mozart,
talking about music, and the only thing we had in common was we both liked the Dresden Dolls. And then I was like, I'm gonna play you my favorite song, and I played it, Mrs. Jones from Pretty on the Inside, and he looked at me and he said, if we ever live together, you can never play that song. And we have not seen each other in person for like a decade after that until the making out. The
There's a movie there,
right?
And that's why that Amanda Palmer quote was so amazing to come full circle.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We have to wrap things up. One of the last questions I want to do is about improv. Brian, what are the fundamentals as an actor in improv? And you have played for improv
for most of my life.
And you have played with the bigwigs. You played for the starter ups. What are the fundamentals in your world being on stage, and what are the fundamentals for you as a musician?
You want to go first, or should I?
Anyone got a coin? I don't know. I think listening and just being present is a huge part of anyone in life. So why not bring that to your work?
Amen. That's all right.
Beautiful, probably more succinct than I can be.
That was very succinct, because there's like some major roles, right?
Major roles?
Rules.
Like rules. Oh, yeah. There's like, there's so many, but if you get caught up in the minutia of like all these things, like your brain is thinking too much. So I just try to live in the moment as much as possible. That sounds so
well. It's the
hokey,
same.
corny, right?
My grandfather used to say the words were invented to hide our emotions. Sure. And when I play for improv, I listen to the words less. It's more the physicality and the way people say things first. And my job when I play music for improv shows is to make it feel like it's a scripted show, like to cover the transitions. It's like a woman walks down and starts crying. If I play Cure song, you'll think she's a 14-year-old crying about her first, boyfriend breaking up with her. And then if I don't play anything, it'll have more gravitas to it. Right. So it's the exact same thing you said, and just being true to the moment.
Yeah, I'm sure I've seen you play play shows before.
And I played UCB a ton over the years.
Yeah.
Symbiotic so cute.
Right here.
Yeah.
It's so cute.
It's me cute right here.
You guys, there's so much talent in this room, and what I love about this show and what about you guys is that everybody has their own such unique story. We've had our highs, we've had our lows, but at the end, we're just working towards our passion. Oh my God, that sounded almost like
that was so sincere.
Sound like you wrote that beforehand.
Who are you?
No, it actually is not here. All right, so we end the show doing a little game called Rapid Fire. So after you play Rapid Fire, it's not too deep. It's just like give us your answer, and at the end you'll tell our listeners and viewers where. Do you need some more?
No, I'm okay. Okay. I'm too blind to pour my own drinks because I don't have depth perception. Yes,
right.
Please
Yeah,
do.
yes. Pour you a drink.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Otherwise, I would be far drunker.
Hey, I've done this before.
There we go.
Teamwork.
Gigantic bottle.
That's those after parties you guys don't have, right?
So while we're pouring that, I'll just tell you who's coming on the show. We have from the room, the Disaster Artist. We have Tommy Wiseau coming in with Greg Sestero, which is going to be crazy. Next week, we have Andy Cohen's business partner, Darren Karp, who's in all the commercials with him, is coming in with Mindy Sterling. We love her from Austin Powers.
Thank you.
Oh, I thought that was all vodka. We also have Parv China, who is one of the hottest Indian actors. You know his face. And Rizwan Manji. You guys know them, but it's so funny we're talking about Indian actors because we all know them. We just don't know their names. And so they're coming in next week. We have a lot of fun. Who's up for rapid fire first?
I mean, that was convincing.
Like I said, it's not like, oh my God.
Alex said the word aisle.
Come on.
Spit it out.
I feel like I've talked too much, for sure.
Spit it out.
Alexander Burke.
Yes.
Most embarrassing song on your playlist?
Everything from Ace of Base.
There we go.
Everything.
Beautiful.
I have more than one song.
No, I mean I still listen to both their records. Probably every other day of my life. And
White supremacist music. Look it up.
Jewish don't care. It's that good.
Bam.
He's not even brisked. What do you think he cares?
Brisked.
Oh yes,
brisked.
The new pancake mix by Alexander Burke.
No, my cousin and I still sing Ace of Base lyrics when we see each other. Like they're the best.
Okay, refresh our listeners' memory. What is Ace? Like, what's their big song?
I mean, Beautiful Life.
I saw
that's the second.
No, I want you to sing it.
Oh, and
that's
and it opened my eyes, and I am happy now, living without you. Told you, failed singing.
You really are the worst singer I've ever heard.
But I can hear how off I am. That's the tragedy.
Oh,
there we go.
Not tone deaf.
There
I
we
can
go.
hear it.
Alexander, any singer, living or dead, that you could write a new anthem for, who would it be?
Tom Waits.
Well, that didn't even take a moment.
He's my end all be all to work with for music.
Okay, there we go.
Interesting.
Love Tom Waits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you had to sing, this is funny. If you had to sing for an American Idol audition, what song would it be?
Oh, Jesus. Probably Randy Newman's Simon Smith and the Amazing Dancing Bear.
Okay.
Yes. It's
Okay,
on my
one
top
people
10.
know.
We're not friends anymore.
One that would
Right.
that would make it to airing. Like, yeah.
Right. One that might make
One
people want
that
to listen.
might make it to air.
Yeah.
Okay, if one would make it to air, I'll say, let's say Harry Nilsson Together. Would that make it to air?
I could see you doing that.
God,
it's
I'm-
kind of like talk singing.
Let's say David Byrne, Once in a Lifetime.
There we go.
Okay.
People
okay.
know that.
God,
I know
I'm
that.
failing this. I didn't think you could fail this, and I feel like I'm failing.
Yeah, but you're a vibraphone prodigy, so it's
There
okay.
we go.
You know all those
all gonna work
those
out.
American Idol auditions where you see David Byrne songs?
Oh yeah.
I listened to Alexander. He sent me down the wrong path. When girls come over, do you bring out the vibraphone? Let's just be honest.
I want to know.
Go-to
And they're like, vibro what? And
Not a joke.
Wah, wah, wah.
I have a Honda Element. I bought it because it fits a vibraphone in the back, and I love you almost as a spit take.
I can't even pretend.
I own so many vibraphones. One lives in the back of my Honda Element.
One lived in our living room for months.
Yeah, we're roommates.
Wait.
Um,
Yeah, that's
No!
what I was about to ask.
Wait, how's this a reality show? How does that
Yeah. So it's me and my girlfriend, and then him, and
We
it's
live
a
in
reality
a
show.
and a cat and a pug. We live
Not
in a,
this twist.
we
And a
live
cat
in
and a pug. It sounds like a song.
We live
Right.
in
2
a
more
haunted.
hours?
We live in a haunted.
You guys, this is a
recording
reality show.
studio together.
Hello, Bravo.
Yeah.
Right.
It probably wouldn't be Bravo. It would probably be We.
But yeah, I have a lot of vibraphones.
How proud
Everything
your
you
parents
say.
must be
Right.
They're
from
they're
Irvine
actually
and
ve-
Laguna. Are
they're
they
very-
still in Irvine and Laguna?
Yeah, they live in Irvine still. They're very proud.
I'm going to go visit them tomorrow.
They
Sorry.
live on ECL Loop.
Sorry.
Is there any genre of music you would be afraid or wary to play for at the Hollywood Bowl?
No.
Love it. I love that answer. That's some confidence.
This man won't shy away from Mrs. Spinder piano. So
I like that. He's like, the tambourine's beneath me.
right.
Biggest pet peeve you have when dealing with singers?
Insecurity.
Alexander Burke, where can our listeners and viewers find you?
You can, my website's up, alexanderburke.com. You can see all the places I'm playing, or Instagram, burke.alexander, original names. But you can
And
see
it's
where I'm
B-U-R-K-E.
So you can see where I'm performing. pretty much every single week or month I'm doing something different. I'm scoring a movie. I'm touring with this artist. I'm making this record. So it's always something very different. Check out magnoliamemoir.com. New record coming out in May. As you told me, definitely May.
It says on the screen.
And we just finished shooting our new music video for Afterlife, so there'll be a bunch of shows coming up around the LA area very soon.
What an honor to have you, honestly.
Cool.
Thank you for
very
sharing
much.
your talent and for being so cool, by the way. I was like, he's here. What am I going to do? Who's next?
I'll go. I'll jump in.
Brian
Come on,
Guest.
Brian.
P.S. He's so much taller than what I thought, by the way.
Tall
When you
man.
walked in, I was
Yeah,
like,
he's very
and he's
tall.
sitting
6
down
feet
right now.
2 inches, and I've got some boots on.
oh.
Those are awesome.
Do you know how
Yeah.
many weird
Those look a
fan
little
tumblers are
Australian.
going to be after
That-
Yes,
okay.
you're going to have your own Tumblr after
Yes.
this. You're like, yes. Brian Guest, your worst audition.
Oh my God. Well, it's a lot of them. But I remember one audition. I was auditioning for this Fox movie, and a casting director literally rode me around the room. There was supposed to be a little person.
So that's a possibility?
That's a possibility, yeah. There was supposed to be a little person who was attacking my back, and apparently I wasn't feeling it enough.
What?
And did that take? Feel it more, Brian. Use the space. And then he threw a pillow at me. I was like, hold the pillow up there and shake it around.
No.
And then he's like,
Did
"Do
you
mind?"
laugh?
Yeah. It's
Are
ridiculous.
you allowed
It's
to
like,
say what movie this is?
I don't want to say.
Okay.
Can you
Okay.
please?
I don't want to
Right.
say.
You guys keep
We're just
doing this.
everywhere
Do it-
nationally.
do it
The
in-
sitter.
And I-
The sitter. It was the
Yes.
sitter. Okay.
There we go. I applaud that.
Yeah, all right, I'm gonna
That-
give it
that
up.
know what
nugget of
movie
truth.
it is.
Wow.
And so this casting director was just like, do you mind if I? And it's totally. I was like, it's totally fine. He's like, do you mind if I come up and just like just get on you? And like, so this like part where this person's supposed to be biting my back. There's a tape somewhere in Hollywood of
Turn
a
up the
casting
air
director riding me around.
People
the room,
are
feeling
people
the
are on the
space.
internet right now.
Yeah.
That's like a Funny or Die. You should just submit that and be like, this is my
I mean,
new
that
video.
tape is
That's
gold.
crazy. And you didn't say no?
No. No, why? Like, it was fun, and like there was nothing nefarious about it. It was like it was fine. It was fine. But somewhere there's a tape of some guy riding me around this casting office. It's hysterical.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I've got a ton of audition stories. They're
Yeah.
ridiculous.
I think you should write a book.
Thank
Your biggest director pet peeve?
Biggest director pet peeve?
Mm-hmm.
I think everyone should just be nice. Like, we're all like just sort of trying to do the same thing, and no one should feel like their creative vision is more like above yours or whatever. And I don't know. The more I climb this like entertainment ladder, I feel like the people at the top are great people. Like, for the most part, I've worked with a lot of great people. It's the people that sort of like on the lower levels that have that like that thing that everyone's trying to like get more and do this and put people in their place or have this power trip. And that's what I don't like.
Interesting. You know, I get to see the personalities that come onto the show. When we've had Academy Award winners, we've had the MTV stars, to see their personality in the green room, and to that, it's energy. Are we bothering you?
I mean, a little bit, but I mean, I guess
okay.
it's almost over, right?
It's very cute. He's actually looking up the words he doesn't understand on his phone.
On the rocks.
So he looked at.
You know
up,
what?
No, he looked up pet peeve.
English is not my first language.
No, so he's-
Love is your first
right,
language? Oh.
No, it's cool. He's
Don't
cool.
support this.
He's
All
in-
the girls
he's in
are
the
like,
game.
oh my God,
Right.
how cute.
I mean,
Right.
He knows every word. He's just playing this.
Right.
Brian Guest, two
Worked out.
comedians that you are going to have lunch with. One is dead, one is alive. Who are they?
Oh,
Is this a warning to a dead one who doesn't know it yet?
The dead one is
Kathy Griffin?
George
Oh.
Carlin, for sure.
Oh, interesting.
I
Okay.
mean, he's brilliant. And alive, oh man, dead too. I got to meet Robin Williams, which is very cool. So that was
wow,
another,
that's awesome.
Another cool dead one. A cool alive one. A cool alive one.
Isn't it weird that
Wow.
it's taking a little time to, yeah.
I mean, Dave Chappelle's pretty rocking. I don't know. I'm thinking, trying to like wrap
What's
my brain
that like?
for like a cool comedian. That like I don't know.
Interesting. Roseanne reboot.
Thumbs
Watch or boycott?
I saw the pilot in the next or not the pilot, but the reboot first episode and the following episode. Not a fan. Like, I don't think it's that funny, and I think they're sorry, Roseanne. And I just think that they're going really an extra mile to try and make this like connection to society when that's not the thing that originally made Roseanne great in the first place.
Right.
Roseanne, the original stuff of Roseanne was like I thought the good feminist voice.
she like hit that over the head and knocked that out of the park. This other stuff doesn't land with me.
I love that you said that because I'm the only gay that hates the Will and Grace reboot. They try too hard and they're hitting you over the head with a message. Thank you for saying that. But we're not political here. Who is your dream co-star? Don't say Meryl Streep. I'll vomit.
Dream co-star? I mean, Emily Blunt's pretty great.
To act with.
To act with. I mean, Pacino? Pacino would be so cool.
Yeah, to me, Pacino seems like he's kind of like given up. He and De Niro's like, let's do comedies where we play old men. We don't have to really emote anymore.
That's more De Niro, I feel like. Pacino, like, has he done any comedies?
His career. Okay, so Pacino.
Yeah, Pacino.
Okay.
I mean,
he would play your great-great-grandfather.
Yeah, that would be amazing. I'd be so lucky.
Okay. Brian Guest, where can our viewers find you?
I'm putzing around UCB. You can check me out there. My handle on most of the internets, I think, is brguest20. Which
Witty.
Is
that is so good. Did Disney try to sue you?
Try to sue my pants off. Because
Did they really?
Donald Duck doesn't wear pants.
Oh.
That's why Disney didn't.
Yeah. God, he's
quick.
Yeah, he's quick. And he's so tall. I'm just like,
right.
Who's next?
I go next. Be nice.
I am nice. You have taken care of me many times.
Right, and I can always say English is not my first language. I don't understand. So.
Yes. Most embarrassing song on your playlist. This is for you too.
Baby, One More Time.
Oh, all right.
It's got a really nice bass.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you sleep with groupies? Yes or no?
No. No. Maybe. I mean. I mean, what are we talking about right now? You need to give me like a timeline.
Or just right now?
Right, in bunk beds or.
I mean, it happens sometimes. There's no room to sleep in the bus, and you just,
So it happens. All right. What is your after show ritual when you're sweating and you're blah blah blah? What? And I don't mean like, oh, I change my clothes, I take a shower. What is your after show personal ritual?
Jack and Coke. And a shower.
Marry me. I will get you your green card. What is your worst habit?
My worst habit? I'm a little OCD. So
really? I would never know that.
I know. I mean, like right now, like these headphones are messing up my hair, and it's going to drive me nuts when I get out of here. So
it looks the same, I promise you.
See, I don't trust this guy.
It's a little off. You look like alfalfa.
Looking at my phone.
You can just keep your headphones on for the rest of the night.
That's what I thought too. I mean, what if I just walk out with this
clip
and I
just that and be like fan fiction? You're OCD. Yeah, what is the biggest thing that you're OCD about? Like if this is here or if this is there or
no, like small things. Like if I'm on my desk, I have to have everything like. I think that's kind of weird. I mean, like everything has to be like in a precise position. I mean, somebody walks around and mess things around and be like, seriously, dude. I mean, even my drum kit when I'm on stage, everything has to be like perfectly like in position. I have my mixer and my laptop. I mean, if somebody goes behind the drums and sits and moves things around, I will probably kill him.
That's interesting because you've played in so many different environments where it's all over the place. Very interesting. Well, that is, it's very interesting.
And see, I like it different every time.
Yeah, I don't know.
The band you wish you could go back in time and play with?
Ooh, I love this question. Man, there's so many. Queen.
Okay, wow.
Does that count?
Yeah.
I don't think it saw that
you
coming.
took a 15 seconds timeout. I was like, oh my God.
No, I'm looking at my pages.
Okay.
Right.
John, I don't have any
it's all right. I noticed you like winged my
good.
whole bio too. It's all right. We're good. I love you. You love
We
me.
love
I
you.
love these guys.
You
It's
guys,
all good, baby.
what an embarrassment of talent tonight, and what an collection of what's happening in the entertainment industry. It's all of us telling our story. Thank you guys so much.
Wait, so I get no rapid fire?
Oh yeah, we did miss him. I wanted to ask you, like the original teenage.
No, I have it right here.
Oh, I'm so sad.
The original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Eastman and Laird, they were very like adult
Oh my God,
comics
you guys were so
actually.
sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you referred to the Humphrey Bogart thing as like not being that adult, and you kind of.
I was 3.
Right. I guess I I just gave away my.
Corey
age.
Feldman also.
3 years old was his busiest year of the his entire life. I mean, everything happened when he was.
That's right. Bro. I keep
29 years
forgetting.
ago, I was very busy. If anyone has
Right.
any work at all.
I can't believe you just gave away your age.
Let me tell you that Corey Feldman was on the show, and he did one of the Turtles for I think 2 or 3 seasons, and he said it was a role that he really liked playing because it had depth and it had, yeah.
Right on.
Okay, Richard.
Yeah, I feel like I've pressured you into it. I'm like, let me play 2 guys.
No. I totally feel bad. I was just like, I felt. John, I'm so sorry.
Sorry.
And this is because I've heard a few of your interviews, so I'm not being rude. Would you go back and be fully sighted?
No.
Yep.
No.
Which one of your books would you make into a movie?
Blastosaurus. No.
You have such an affection for Blastosaurus.
Oh God, I love him so much. I mean, he's a mutant Triceratops who fights monsters.
That sounds awesome.
That's my mom. She's in the green room.
But like, by the way, like I haven't mentioned it. Like Blastosaurus launched last week at WonderCon. It's now available in the U.S. through Golden Apple Comics. It's going to be available worldwide. You can order it through Diamond Previews from May. Like it's happening. Like my crime-fighting dinosaur is a thing now. It's a really surreal, weird experience.
The comedy in Blastosaurus is so different because it has beats where you wait and wait, and then the punchline comes, and you're like, "That's funny."
I like it when people have to say specifically that's funny, as if like technically, yeah, it is.
After your full day of drawing, and you've drawn and you've submitted it, what is your ritual?
If I'm in LA and I'm on my own, I will drink wine in my recliner while on the phone to my fiance and then fall asleep. If I'm in Canada with him, we will hang out with our Great Danes and drink wine and fall asleep.
Most boring answer I've ever had.
Sorry. We sacrifice.
Thank you. If you could ask one question, and this comes with the Ninja Turtles, also as an artist, if you could ask one question of Leonardo da Vinci, what would it be?
Ooh. Who was Mona Lisa looking at?
Oh. And finally, what is your guilty pleasure?
Oh, hardcore, it is KFC from anywhere outside of North America.
KFC?
So KFC sucks in America. I'm really sorry, Americans. It sucks. It's just the worst.
Your Canadian accent is coming out.
I'm
just gonna put that out.
By the way, I don't know what my accent is at this point. Like
I've noticed
it's still not. You're like Jessica Lange in American Horror Story. What's your accent, girl?
I don't hear it. I had when I was 7, I heard New Zealand television for the first time. And I said to my mother, a show called Shortland Street started, and I said to my mother, I need to get speech lessons to not sound like that. And so I spent 4 years having no accent trained into me. And then the guy I dated was a dialect coach in my 20s from LA. And so
hundreds.
In his 60s ish. And he insisted that I spoke like an American when I was around him because, as I said, healthy relationship.
If you ever want to piss off Richard, by the way, tell me he sounds like a New Zealander. And
he does not. I wanted to do some New Zealand, Australian jokes. Like, look at me, please, look at me.
I don't hear it. I don't know what I sound like now. And when people point it out to me,
you sound like Madonna. Weird. She doesn't know what her accent is.
Well played.
Yeah.
What was the question? I'm sorry.
No, it's covered.
All right, everybody, thank you so much. Kurt, thank you so much. Thank you to Icon. Thank you to Mosaic Public Relations.
Bam.
Thank you for this eclectic group.
That's
you guys,
right.
we are the Breakfast Club. Woo. We are taking over the world tomorrow. Woo. This has been On the Rocks with Alexander, every Tuesday at 7 p.m. on Universal Broadcasting Network. Find me on Facebook on The Rocks Radio Show. Tweet me or Instagram me at On The Rocks On Air. See you next Tuesday.